Hey everybody, welcome back to the Danger Planet. Today, we're talking about the Ox, kid.
You've gone too far, Brandon.
I regret this already.
Amazing. Well, Cole is already regretting coming on the episode, but let me introduce the Ox who are here, the Ox players who have come to talk Arcanists with us today. We will start with Cole. Cole, say hello to the internet.
Hello, the internet.
You might know Cole as Cole, Destroyer of Worlds and Slayer of All, and also King of the Toledo meta, perhaps, or Old King Cole of the Roost. All of these nom de plume. Yeah, that's a thing.
You could.
Sure.
You probably don't know me as
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, you mean, well, if you've ever been aggressively hungover at a tournament and Gen Con and woke up mid game with no points left to score, perhaps you'll know Cole like I do. What a time! That was a good game.
What?
Yeah. So Cole, thank you for joining us. Roman, you are also here. Roman, say hello to the internet.
Hello, internet.
Roman, you might know as a gentleman of the internet from specifically the Steam-Powered Scoundrels. Those are the most Steam-Powered Scoundrels that I know. And also, like, generally, like, being around Malifaux tournaments. I think also cosplaying at Gen Con quite a few times.
Yeah, we've done that a time or two.
Yeah. And then also joining us, perhaps, you've met Dan, aka Diesel. Diesel is, a Malifaux player who plays the Axe Kid that I've hung out with at a few tournaments now, and I think he's pretty good at the Axe. What do you think? Say hello to the internet.
Howdy, the internet.
Amazing. Dan, what have you been at recently? You were just at Captain Con, I think.
Yes, I was at Captain Con playing Arcanists, and then before that I was at Texas, but I was playing Guild back then, so.
Oh yeah, not
relevant to our.
You came to the good guys
conversation stuff. Yeah, the good guys.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, we don't have to talk about the guild. It's fine. So we have some distinguished Ox with us today, the Arcanists, and we're gonna get to it. So let's start off on this faction overview with everyone's favorite and most early alphabetically Arcanists versatile model, Altus Keene. We did it. Good segue. So Altus Keene is a 7-stone model. He's 7 health. He's got Aegis, and which one is real? A unique ability to him, I think, that when he activates, the opposing player has to discard a card, which is pretty wild. He's got a pretty wimpy magic attack, but it's got some pretty good triggers. He has healing energy with a trigger to place near his sister, Irena Keene, and he also has Revitalize to rip tokens. Roman, talk to me about Altus.
So, Altus is an interesting model in that I think he very clearly has a role in healing and token removal. But I personally have not found a game where I brought him so far where I didn't think later it's like, I could have dealt with the tokens without him.
Yeah, I agree. I've had almost exactly the same experience.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing how much that attack action is like a weight around his neck.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. Like, at least give me 2, right?
I don't understand why it has all of the triggers on his card or on his attack action, which is clearly not the purpose of this model. So it's a very strange situation that he has. Also, he's just made of toilet paper, like wet toilet paper, for a 7 stone model. So,
he's like, I don't even know. He's like one of the only models that I think I've even seen so far, reviewing all of the factions, that is the exact same health and cost. Like, everyone else has more.
Yeah, and there's not many in the entire game. He is unique in that regard, unfortunately.
And the other ones I can think of all have a pretty good defensive ability to make up for the fact that they are wounds equals cost.
Like his attack is frankly awful. The triggers are cool if you can hit the one you need when you need it. Healing energy is nice. when you have stones to spare. But other than that, you're just hoping that you're in range for something that really wants to revitalize, and he needs to make his entire cost on removing tokens. So there's just not a lot of matchups where he's super worth it.
Yeah, wild stuff. I mean, so I guess ultimately, like, clearly, I think we're definitely not giving him we're definitely giving him a neg flip, maybe even a double neg flip in the beater category.
Yeah, any magical attack, I almost want to automatically reduce the written damage by 1, just because your opponent can always, if they have the card, try to tie you. Anything like cover reduces it to 0 immediately. So anything like that, I'm
and
just
given
like,
that it's ranged, like the chance of cover being actually like a serious problem is huge.
Yeah, and shielded. There's 3 ways everybody has to reduce to 0 if they're playing on good tables.
Yeah.
And to top it off, you don't get raises, and he has no effect for raises, even on his triggers, so there just really isn't a lot to love about that attack.
Yeah.
And like if they really wanted to give him arc, can you imagine how cool and unique it would be to have arc on healing energy?
That would be dope.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Just saying. But yeah, so we're definitely without a doubt neg flip, if not double neg flip, just because like it's almost a trap that they printed an attack action on this card. In terms of beating, he doesn't really scheme at all. That's not his deal. So neg flip there, and I think unless anybody's crazy, I mean, obviously he's built for utility, so I think he needs to get a plus flip here because that's what you hire him for.
That's exactly what I have written.
It sounds like you and Cole are pretty much like, and all 3 of you are just pretty much don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he really quite does enough that you can not get by without him if you're looking for what he offers.
Yeah.
Your options of making up his value are spending even more stones on healing energy or removing 7 stones worth of tokens, which is tough.
Yeah. Fair enough. Let's not waste any more time on him and talk about the Arcane Effigy. The Arcane Effigy, just like in every other faction, there's a 2-stone model that has 3 health, insignificant, quick, steady, which means he gets the keywords of the crew, the friendly leader, and therefore has access to the crew card. The back of his card is actually kind of interesting. He gives out adaptable, which seems to be pretty common amongst synergy in the Arcanist, but also is just generally good. And his attack action removes a marker within 2 of the target if it gets a raise, which at stat 4 is not super likely, but it could, and it can also slow and is normal if he's engaged by an enemy, then and doesn't have a summon token, he can grow into the emissary. Cole, have you hired the Effigy very much at all?
Not, I won't say all the time, but functionally any game I'm not already bringing its big brother, yeah, I'm at least going to think about it. Adaptable is just really generally good. Like there's not many crews that don't want a built-in suit on something, probably like your master or 10-stone henchman. For 2 stones being a lot more reliable, and then you're not getting the raise on Arcane Fury often, but if you go late in the turn, you might threaten removing a scheme marker that they didn't think you could remove.
Sure.
For 2 stones, yeah, he's pretty sick.
Yeah, fair enough. Roman, what do you think about this Effigy boy? Do you find yourself hiring him?
Similar to Cole, not all the time, but generally if there is an action on the crew card that friendlies can do, especially friendly uniques, spending 2 for an extra model that, other than handing out adaptable and walking, has extra actions to use those for, he's great for it.
For sure. Yeah. What about you, Dan?
I like him. If I feel like I have a knock against him, it's that I often hire the Arcane Fate Emissary, and obviously you can't have both. But I think it's a perfectly acceptable Effigy, and there's definitely spots to pick him up if you're not bringing the Emissary.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think, we can, if anybody disagrees, feel free, but beating neg flip for sure, that's not what he's here for. Even scheming sort of a neg flip. Yep. The remove marker, I think, is cool, but I think from a utility perspective, I think I have to give a 2-stone model that can be relevant a plus flip, yeah?
Yeah, you definitely bring him for his utility, whether it's on the card or on a crew card, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And crew agnostic, I feel like adaptable is a really good utility. Like you've got
Yeah.
some other effigies that give out like hazardous tokens; those are sometimes useful.
Yeah.
Adaptable is basically always going to be.
Yeah.
And I think
Arcanists do like our
everybody
triggers.
benefits. Yeah. Yeah, and we have a lot of the same bits in the Arcane Fate Emissary, which is an 8-stone model. Obviously, they're the same name, so you can't hire both of them. But the Emissary has Quick Study as well. He has the common Emissary Tempting Fate ability, which is once per game when a friendly master is killed, you can drain 2 stones to deal 4 damage to this guy and heal them for 4. And then his unique Emissary ability is called Arcane Conflux, which is once per activation, friendly models within 6 inches can draw range and line of sight for spell actions from this model, and those actions receive a plus flip, which is crazy. He also has a really good melee attack. It's a 2-inch stat 2-inch stat 6 3 damage attack that gets a plus flip on the charge with Heave, a very, very relevant trigger, and Stagger, and Arcane Rush, which is a signature action. Once per activation, enemy models within Pulse 2 have to pitch a card or be moved 3 away. Models that are moved by this action have to take a TN12 defense duel or are dealt 2 damage, and you can give another friendly model within range hastened, but I think crucially on a tome you can declare the charge action ignoring restrictions, which maybe I think I'm not crazy on this, but that means whether or not you have charged or plan to charge later, it's fine.
Correct.
I think that's what we said.
And also engagement.
Yeah, and also engagement, which is crazy. So Dan, you sort of said the effigy you're not hiring as much because you're often hiring the emissary. How do you feel about this boy?
Yeah, I think this model's great. It is kind of just a solid beater that you can slot into basically any crew because obviously it picks up your keyword. I hire him not maybe in places I shouldn't, just because it's just very easy to use and often effective. And he also brings, what I consider utility. The Heave trigger is obviously, as you say, very good. He's relatively sturdy. Obviously, doesn't have like a great deal of defenses, but he has a good health pool, high defense, high speed. And then Arcane Flux is just also good utility. I don't think there's a lot of keywords in the faction that can't make use of that, to where you can kind of extend the range on a magic attack within 6 of him and get a plus flip on it. Even if you don't need the range, the plus flip is nice. So I just think this model is pretty well rounded. The only thing he doesn't really do is, exceptionally is scheme. But in the other categories that we're talking about, I think he's great.
Yeah. Roman, do you have any other bits about this boy or anything to add?
I will say that I have resisted hiring him much until maybe the last month or so, just because I was really focused on getting keywords to figure out what they do internally. But since I've been hiring him more,
right now.
Yeah, we're early enough in the edition yet. But since I've been hiring him more, I definitely have been looking at him going, oh, you're an 8 cost that I do need to have a plan for. Hey, maybe I don't want that 10 cost beater I want to save a couple stones for. This isn't a bad option.
Yeah. What do you think, Cole?
Yeah, I mean, he is realistically as good or better than most of our 10-stone beaters in most of our keywords, and at a discount.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
well, yeah, not even. I mean, not only a discount, but an optional discount that you can sometimes just not have your master die for, right?
Right.
Which is like extra value.
Like his attack is really good. He was a really good trigger. If he's in your crew, the first thing you do when you draw your cards is see if you have like a mid-cost tome or an empower tome. For that free charge.
Yeah.
And that does make him surprisingly good at scheming in a pinch because he can't be meaningfully engaged if you have a tome in hand. I've had that matter in a couple games where he ends up being the thing to go get like breakthrough or something because it wasn't expected and he can get away.
Yeah. Also, importantly, that I didn't mention, he's speed 7, so it's like actually an above average move speed on a 50 mil model.
I think the only real downside I have for him is he is a little squishy compared to kind of other things in his class. He's got 11 wounds and no defensive tech whatsoever.
Yeah.
But
get
some work done with him early and it'll be fine.
So I mean, I think he's exceptionally good at beating for sure. So I think we're in plus flip territory there.
100%.
Honestly, I don't even hate the idea of giving him a plus flip in scheming, because you are correct. He literally can't be engaged down. But
And
I
that
think
Arcane
that
rush pushing people off of where they want to be, I think, ends up denying things like take the high ground, or it's mattered more than I would think. He seems very damage focused, but
yeah,
he isn't only.
That's
yeah.
fair.
And also, like, in terms of utility, not only the crew movement, but also like he just gains your crew's abilities and can keep your leader alive. I think that seems reasonable. Plus flip there too. Plus flips all around. Yep. Look at this boy. Let's see if that's the same on this next model. Okay, so this is Envy. Envy is a 8-stone Crossroads model. We will not be talking about the Crossroads here. We have decided in concert, I guess, to save that opportunity for the 10 Thunders video. So if you want to learn how the Crossroads functions as a crew, talk to the 10 Thunders, and particularly at Landon. It'd be great. So at Porp Darpa, everybody, I'm sure he'll love that. But Envy is an 8-stone model. He has armor. He is cumbersome, so he can't scale, although he can still pay his normal move to climb if he wants, which people like always think that that's not the case, which really sort of, I think, is problematic. And then he has Why Do You Get That? Once per activation, after an enemy model within 6 draws a card, this model may draw a card. On the backside, he's got a pretty good gun. It's damage 3, 12-inch range. If the target doesn't have cover, he gets a baked-in plus flip. And it's got, importantly, probably the best thing on his entire card, a stone for models damaged, gain Craven. He also has Sweeping Strike, which is very strong, so deal 2 damage to someone within an inch of the target. And then What's Fair is Fair. Target leader only once per game. Set this crew soulstone equal to the target soulstone pool. I don't know. We'll talk. Other people can talk about it. It's fine. And then lastly, Ominous Pipes is his unique tactical action. Make a ski marker within 6. Enemies within 3 pass to take a low TN12 willpower duel or gain Craven. And if you didn't get a raise, eat the marker. Roman, what do you think about Envy? Is he the apple of your eye?
He's not. He has some good stuff, but some of it, like Ominous Pipes and Why Do You Get That? Honestly, I'm bringing him for the gun. If he's within 6 inches of stuff, it's by happenstance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ominous Pipes making a 6-inch, really 7-inch difference of a scheme marker is pretty solid for a 9 to actually have it stay. So that can be pretty good if you have the 9 to spare. But otherwise, he's not bad, but he's not an everything.
I like to think of this guy as the Sisters You Sisters we have at home. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Dan, what do you think about MB?
I mean, that is
playable models.
That is certainly a comparison you could make for this model. I basically agree with Roman. He has a lot of problems, but I believe he's our only access to Craven in Arcanists. So, I had the big idea to take him on Informants once, and that worked out okay. But there's a lot of text on his card that isn't really doing anything. And he doesn't have a melee attack or a way to get out of melee, so you kind of have to babysit him a little bit. And so that makes him a tough sell in a lot of situations. But there's some stuff on here for sure.
Yeah, I think a quick app search, if that is to be trusted at this time, which who knows, does confirm there are 0 other sources of Craven in the faction. If I'm wrong, get in the comments and let us know. What do you think, Cole? Are you ever hiring MB?
He's a model that I always really want to hire and then never do. I don't know if I've put him on the table once this edition. I did hear from one of our locals, Scott, about some Arcanist player at Captain Con who was a terror with Envy and Informants. I think that might have been you, Dan.
That was me. That's very kind of him to say that.
Yeah, so I know about that trick because he came home and talked about it. So I want to try it.
Yeah.
But other than that specific interaction, he's got a good gun, sure, but at 8 stones, there's a lot of other stuff you could take, and that's where I run into issues, is the opportunity cost.
So I think ultimately, like, his gun is good. I think we all agree on that. Plus flip damage, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess. Are you content with the plus flip on utility because his gun has Craven, and I guess theoretically for a very high TN he can drop a ski marker at range.
I think that's fair. I think that Craven is a really strong threat, if not a strong ability.
Yeah.
And in something like Informants, like if I'm playing against Yuri, I will probably bring him because it's the only way to win against that crew, I think.
Yeah. Sorry, he draws cards also sometimes, but like very rarely. I guess. Scheming wise, like I guess the Ominous Pipes does drop a ski marker. That is true. I don't know. I'm very reticent to give this guy 3+ flips, so I'd like to take one away if we're gonna give him a +1 on scheming. But
I think you could give him the minus on scheming because the play pattern that you want for him makes it so that scheme marker, he's like very often not going to be in a place where that scheme marker is super relevant. So
yeah,
because he doesn't have like run and gun or any way to move himself up.
Yeah.
So, every walk is a gun you didn't take.
Sure.
And
well,
you already have to deal with him being engaged.
Yeah. Fair enough. Let's move on to Ferdinand Vogel. What a guy. So this guy has 2 flavors. He has Self-Righteous flavor and the Beast Within flavor, which tastes like citrus. I will not elaborate. This model costs 7 stones. And while he's in Self-Righteous Man form, his defense 5, willpower 6, he's got 9 health. And he has File Papers as an ability. Once per activation, after this model resolves the interact action targeting a strategy or enemy scheme marker, it can draw a card, which is pretty good in certain circumstances. He has Intimidating Authority, so he may deal a damage to the attacker for every raise you receive while resisting. Not very common, but totally a thing. And then Shape Change, just like the other version. When you activate, you can replace it with the other version and heal 2. Importantly, it's a replace, not a summon, because it's the same model, so you don't lose anything by doing it. You just heal. On the back side, we have Slap with 2 Ps, which is a 0 damage attack. Importantly, it's 0, not dash, so it can theoretically get damage from raises. Remove a token from the target. Every raise you receive, move the target up to 2 inches, and it has a stagger trigger. We have Ancient Words, which is like an okay willpower attack, because unlike normal magic attacks, this one does get damage from raises, and it's got some triggers. And then Impassioned Defense, giving out shield is pretty good. Mr. Beast Within flavor has Resilient and Unimpeded instead for abilities. And on the backside, we have Blood-Soaked Claws, which is damage 3, 2 inches, which is pretty good. It is only stat 5, although it does have a baked-in Pick the Bones trigger, so you get to interact for free if you kill someone. And it's got Piercing and Pouncing Strike aside from that. And if you're attacking somebody with Adversary, which he can give out theoretically, it's raise value 3. Bang Howl is his only tactical action, which pulses out an 11 willpower duel, which is a targeted 11 willpower duel to give out the Adversary, but it does let you move another friendly beast within range 3, and then he can look at some cards on his stone trigger. Roman, what do you think about this boyo? Have you vogeled much?
I am so glad you asked me about him first. He is my best boy.
Oh my gosh.
And this is a carryover from last edition as well, because Self-Righteous Man especially, he's doing essentially everything he did last edition. In some ways, I think he got a little better, and he's a stone than he was. But yeah, no, I've taken him a number of times. Honestly, I think in most of our keywords, in certain strategies, or where you expect certain schemes to come up, he's worth it just for File Papers, for that extra card, especially say on Boundary Dispute.
Yeah, this guy rocks Boundary.
Yeah, you just get an extra card every turn. He's going to go walk one of the balls across the way, while handing out Shielded with a little healing on a if you have the Ram. Oh look, he also has range scheme marker making if he has the Tome there. Ancient Words is a good attack. I honestly haven't used it that much, but when I have, it is nasty if people don't remember that it gets raises unless you call it out like 3 times during the game.
Mm-hmm.
And when you throw in the mental trauma, if you're one of the things I've really liked doing, bring him and the Effigy or Emissary, have the Emissary run up and make them discard a bunch of cards or be moved. And then Ancient Words suddenly is basically min damage 5 if you have a Crow to empower.
Okay, all right, that's wild.
Yep. And I haven't even started talking about wolf form yet.
Wow.
Which also is good. The main thing I'll say is anything that Vogel, the dude, doesn't do super well, the beast does. And the only thing I think would make him better is if there was more ways to get out adversary in the faction.
Mhm.
Or if Bang Howl had a higher target number for the target, since it's one target, but can't have everything.
Yeah. With a quick search again, I do believe that Ferdinand Vogel might be the only way to give out adversary in the faction.
Yep.
I'm almost certain he is. I
Yep.
don't think it exists.
Yeah.
But it's time.
It's all Chimera.
Yeah. Dan, what do you think about this man? Have you Vogeled? Are you
Uh,
Vogeling?
I have played him a little bit. My early games with him, he didn't do as much as I was hoping, so I've kind of put him on the back burner, but I'm getting talked back into it as we speak. Like Roman said, on Boundary Dispute, he makes a lot of sense. You get that card for interacting with your own strat markers. I think it's also worth highlighting the way that replaces work. You drop the base of the model you're replacing to in base contact with the old version. So you can kind of get a few extra inches out of that when you are activating and then transforming at the start of your activation. So all in all, I think he's like a really solid little package with a lot of he just does a lot of different things for 7 costs. So I feel a lot more positive about him the more I look at him.
What do you think, Cole? You like this guy? You Vogeling? Every day you're
I
Vogeling?
haven't really yet, but I swear every time Roman and I talk about Arcanist Versatiles, he reminds me that I really need to try him.
I will
I
convert
think-
you to the Church of the Dapper Lycanthrope.
Yeah, I know. I think
Or
if
Little Red
either
Riding Hood?
card was his only card, I don't think I would consider it. But the fact you get both and shape change is actually nice this edition. You don't have to discard the way you used to have to. So that versatility of having like 2 models that are each kind of, I would think, like 3/4 of a full model's worth of stuff, just in options, does seem pretty nice.
Yeah.
Again, I run into like I want to play mostly in keyword where I can, and 7 is just expensive enough that you're kind of choosing something to leave out. So I just haven't really gotten around to playing him.
Yeah.
Looks solid though. Like cards are good.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. So realistically, like obviously because he's both models and you have access to both, we have to rate both. I think that there's definitely the probability of damage, so I think he's getting a plus flip and beater. Obviously, we have some really good scheming ability. He has. I didn't specifically call it out, but his impassioned defense does have a draw out secrets trigger, so that's not the worst. And we get the card draw for interacting, but also like. Yeah, extra movement's not bad. And then
I would definitely put him more as utility than scheming. With the giving out shielded, if you have other beasts in keyword Bang Howl, moving them
for sure.
I'd have to double check. I think there's a cute thing you can do with Bang Howl where you give adversary to a friendly, and then if you have any like friendly obeys or friendly attacks, you would get the positive there.
Interesting. I don't necessarily think that that's not the case, right?
I don't know how adversary works. Because I don't
Nowadays.
have any keywords with
Future-
it, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Future Brandon, I'll cut this, but one moment, please, because I'm pulling it up now. Friendly models receive a plus flip to attack actions targeting this model.
Yeah, so that
So,
totally
yeah.
works.
Wow.
So, yeah,
But then also,
obeys or friendly attacks.
but because it's your adversary token, that it doesn't work negatively for you.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah, you get
That's
positives.
nuts, dude.
So if you have like, command construct or obey or like any friendly attacks, I mean there are an amount of them. So
Yeah, Bang Howl your own dudes to relent to fail.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I don't think that's why you bring him, but that signature isn't doing a lot otherwise realistically. So
Well, you can also, if you want to pay a stone, if you're doing that, then you can intuition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's dumb.
Wow. Okay. Plus flip utility, plus with damage, neg flip scheming. That's okay. I'm hip to that. What a wild time. That's quite the spice, I think. Let's see if that changes. But for now, we'll talk the next model, Fire Gamin. This Gamin is a 3-stone model. He has 3 health. He has Flameborn, so he heals from damage. He pulses out damage in 1 inch when he dies, and when he activates, a model within 3 gains burning. On the backside, he has a bad range attack that does 1 damage, and he can rip burning from targets within 3 to heal them, to heal himself rather, and gain a burning. Cole, are you hiring Fire Gamin in not Sandeep or Karis?
Literally 0% of the time. These shouldn't even be versatile.
Amazing.
Maybe there's a weird like, oh, I'm playing against Sonya and I want to have the cheapest token removal possible.
Okay.
But even then, like, they're terrible models that are easy to kill if you like wink at them. So you should not hire one.
And they give out burning to your guys if you're too close.
Even on their attack, it's all models gain burning, which isn't that big of a deal. In like Karis, you're probably on fire anyway, but in everyone else, you don't want that.
Yeah. Roman, do you dissent at all?
No, not at all. The one thing I would point out is his Searing Pulse can be given to himself. So if you were to hire him for weird Sonya anti-play where somehow he's not the first thing dying, he could just give himself burning.
No, granted, these things are baller in Karis.
Absolutely.
And you will summon them in Sandeeps. Like, they have play. They're just not versatile models.
Yeah,
for sure.
They shouldn't be that tab.
Yeah, fair enough. Dan, any dissenting thoughts here?
Nope. We have 3 cost models in our versatiles, and I think only one of them is really worth hiring most of the time.
Neg flip all the way. Let's move on. So now we have a 10-stone beater. Very similar premise. This guy's a fire golem. He costs 10. He has 13 health, which is not bad. He has Flameborn just like the little boyos. Fiery presence, just like the little boyos. Oh no, not really. It's different because all models within 3 gain burning. And then heat stroke. When he resolves burning, damage from that token is dealt to enemy models within 3 instead of base contact. Ignoring any additional pulse distance granted by the fervor bar, which isn't relevant versatile. It's the Karis crew guard thing. Or is that Karis or is that Sandy?
That's Karis.
Yeah, it's Karis Reborn.
Future Brandon cut this. I'm very confident, so I think I can sell it. On the backside, he has a huge Flaming Fist, which is a 3 damage 2-inch melee attack that gives out burning to models damage, and has Sweeping Strike, which is a thing. He can spend a stone to summon a Fire Gamin by taking 3 irreducible damage, and Flash Fire, his fancy schmancy tactical action, is a 12-inch range, and enemies within 3 of the target have to pass a TN 12 defense duel or take 2 damage and get burning. And if you move, if enemy models that fail the duel are moved 3 towards the target. Are we in a similar position? Roman, are you ever hiring the Fire Golem out of keyword?
I have not found a case yet, and I will even go so far as to say, even when playing Sandeep, the Golem-y version, he's the last Golem I care about.
Yeah.
He hits decently, and Flashfire honestly isn't bad, especially if you're wanting to go for hand pressure, but there's better ways to do it, and for 10 costs, I have other places to spend stones.
Yeah. What do you think, Dan? Are you ever Golemin?
No, not at all. Not even in Academic or Wildfire. I think this guy comes up pretty regularly in conversations about the worst 10-stone model in the game, and I think that's very justified. He is not 10 stones worth of a model with these rules.
That's spicy as worst 10-stone model in the game. I don't know that I can refute it though, so that's unfortunate.
I think if it's not him, then I haven't seen the card that is.
Mm-hmm.
For me, he's a never hire in either of his keywords, and especially never hire versatile. The only time he will ever see the table is if you're playing Sandeep Font and you already have both other golems on the table and you have more stones than you know what to do with.
Wild.
Or Sandeep dies.
Yeah.
Or Sandeep dies. Sure. If you were going to end up with a third golem that you're summoning or replacing into, sure, he'll see play, but you will never hire him for any reason.
Yeah.
Okay, hear me out. What if you play a crew that has no damaging models whatsoever? You really need one, if that even exists, which I'm sure it doesn't. And also you're playing against Sonya, so you want to be immune to burning.
There are 3 different min 3 beaters that are in versatile and 2 stones cheaper. I would just hire one of them.
Wow. All right. Well, I tried. I mean, look, he does have a good attack with good triggers. I feel like it would be improper to not give him a plus flip to beating. But
Sure.
I think neg flip to both, and I think with the plus flip to the beater category comes with an asterisk of probably don't hire this model. It's not worth 10.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, let's talk Gearlings. This is a 3-stone model that might be hireable, perhaps. He has 3 health, he has armor, and he has expert climber. Although they are defense and willpower 4. So that's kind of worrisome. They have a bad melee attack. It's stat 4. It does 1 damage, but it does have a raise value of 3, which is not going to be relevant. It also can sweeping strike, which also will not be relevant. In
It's the
fact,
funniest sweeping strike in the entire game. I don't know why they have that.
and watch chain. Friendly only move the target 4 inches towards a piece of terrain in its line of sight. Basically what it did before, but now you can make other people do it. Actually, no, that's literally what it just used to do, I think. Yeah. Nonetheless,
I think Watch Chain moved itself, not someone else, but I could be
it
remembering
just used to move it. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll look it up while we're talking. But Dan, how do you gear? Do you gear?
Yeah, so these guys are okay. There's, I think, a floor on how bad a significant 3-stone model can be. It's not a high floor, but it's not, I think we talked shit on the Fire Gamin, and the main reason we don't like them is just because these guys exist. Expert Climber is a good rule. Armor is fine, and Watch Chain is decent utility. But mostly these guys are just cheap guys who will, run at the center line with a bomb or stand on your back point in informants.
Wow. And there's like one other thing that's relevant with their keyword of Watchman. But Roman, do you have any other thoughts on Gearling?
They're like was said, they are a cheap scheme runner essentially, and I will add to their expert climber. They do, since they can target themselves with Watch Chain, they are a cheap model that can get out of melee to then interact.
Yeah, for sure. Although to be fair, I think if they've become in melee, I'd be surprised if they're still alive. But yes. Cole, what do you think about Gearlings?
Yeah, I mean, they have 3 wounds in armor, and that armor is pretty critical because it means most things won't kill them in 1 hit without raises. Granted, at defense 4, that's not a tall order, but you might survive. It can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Dan. Like, as much as I was just berating the Fire Gamin, if you're a significant 3-stone model, you can only be so bad.
Mhm.
And especially if you were a 3-stone model that can like stand in the back of your deployment zone or stand on an informant marker and still have something it can do to impact the game by moving your important pieces up, you can't ask for too much more than that and expect it to be balanced, right?
Yeah, for 3 stones, certainly not.
Like if Watch Chain lets my master or my 10-stone beater get off a charge on turn 1 instead of not doing that, they're worth the 3 stones to then still be a model later.
Yeah. So I think obviously this model's not comically not doing damage, neg flip on beating. For the fact that he can scoot himself out of combat if he survives, I think, for 3 stones, I think we're looking at a pretty good plus flip schemer candidate. Do you think that the watch chaining other people is worth a plus flip in utility for hiring? Do you think we really need that on 3-stone model?
I struggle to give him a plus in scheming and utility. If we can split it half and half and divide them, that'd be cool. But
Yeah. We could asterisk plus flip them both. Any dissent on that?
Makes sense to me.
Wow. Well, let's talk about his older brother, Harris J5, 8 stones, 11 health, 6 defense, 5 willpower. This guy has off-road, which means he may choose... Well, let's come back to this. So he has overwhelming intricacy, so once per turn, when a friendly marker is made within 3, he can place in base contact, unwavering a physical, fortitude defense. Once per activation, he can reduce damage dealt to friendly models within 1 inch of this model by 1. Now, off-road. Hear me out. This ability says this model may choose to ignore the effects of non-scheme markers. Future Brandon has cut the last 5 minutes of nonsense conversation about how off-road works because it threw all of us for a loop. And if it did that to us, it's probably going to do that to you. Suffice to say, you can move through blocking, I guess. Just there's a section in the rules passage about it. It's very strange, and just remember it's optional, so you can or not. Very strange. Nonetheless, maybe if Justin's listening, please errata it. Please FAQ this. I have some F's. No, I have some A's that I have F'd about this. No, I have some Q's that I FA about this, and I will continue to FA about this. Maybe I'll talk to him at Adepticon. It has a Harris J5 also has a melee attack. It's called Pendulum Swing. It's a 2-inch stat 6, 3 damage with some pretty good triggers. Sweeping Strike to do extra damage and delay for slow. He has Tenacity, which is always good. Just pitch a card to heal to as a tactical action, and then he has a signature tactical called Hunt for Parts, which needs a 7 once per activation. Place this model anywhere within 6. It's Just Leap, but it's got Shrug Off and Never Tell Me the Odds, which is really just good. Because it has an awesome name. Roman, have you Harris J5? Will you Harris J5? And do you think you're just going to hold off until Harris J6 comes out and then buy Harris J5 at a Soulstone discount?
So I've hired him once, and the main thing I remember about that game was every time I flipped for Hunt for Parts, I flipped like a 5 or a 6 and didn't have the card in hand that I wasn't already using for something else that would get me points that I would use it for. So that 7 target number really hurts him, I think. And since
that way.
Yeah, and since then he's been that model of I want to try bringing him, but for 1 stone less I can bring Vogel, and I have a proven track record with Vogel printing me points.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Cole, have you 5'd at all? Harris J?
Yeah, I brought him in a game this week, actually.
How'd it go?
That 7 hurts. I definitely will not argue that. But fact remains he is a min 3 beater with a leap. So that puts him kind of on a class of models that I am at least going to think about if I don't have something like that in keyword. He doesn't do it exceptional. We talked about Envy being the sisters you have at home. He is very much the intrepid emissary you have at home.
Sure.
Because he is a strictly worse version of that. And it's really hard to make Unwavering actually do anything other than just be armor for himself, in my experience.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's got a good melee with 2 good triggers. He can leap. You can, if he can't leap and you need to get him out of engagement, you can just drop a marker near him to move him around. Like he's kind of solidly middle at everything. So if you have 8 stones left, sure.
Yeah, wildly, I think Overwhelming Intricacy is once per turn, which is like feels almost like a level of cognitive load that I'm not comfortable with, because I feel like people have games
because of that.
But using it is good. It's a good ability, but like there are going to be games where people are like, shit, I'm a marker crew. I brought Harris J5. Did I do this already? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know? Dan, what do you think about this boy?
Yeah, I think he's fine. He can definitely schmoove, and a guy with a leap, it's not bad. I think he runs into a problem, kind of echoing what Roman said about him compared to Ferdinand. There's a lot of several 8-stone models in our versatile stable, not to mention anything that might be in any given keyword, and so that slot that you're looking at for an 8-stone model you might want in your crew can be pretty competitive, and he's not doing anything extraordinary at that slot. That said, I think he's fine. As you say, if you have 8 stones and he meets a need for your crew, then perfectly reasonable model.
Yeah, and I think generally speaking, utility-wise, we're going to neck flip him. He doesn't really do anything outside of some weird stuff that really only affects him. Definitely, a 3 damage beater with a leap, a plus flip there. And I think Cole raised an interesting point about him potentially being good at scheming as well for the same reasons, that he can just kind of remove himself from combat. So I think I'm inclined to plus flip him on scheming and beating.
Yep.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. What a guy. Now, that guy might look familiar when you look at this next guy, because it's his robot cousin, or his robot friend. I don't know. I'm not sure what their relationship is. Any thoughts on the relationship, Roman? I mean, I know that he made him, but
I think I think they're related by mustache.
Oh. I'm not going to expound on that because I don't want to put this too far in the gutter this early in the video, but we'll no, I'm thinking it. So this guy costs 7. He's got 9 health. Time moves slowly for him. So when he activates, he can rip slow off of a friendly model with an 8, which seems very situational. But he does have first to speak, which is reverse manipulative. So once he activates, enemies can't cheat their duels when targeting him, which is pretty strong. on models that I've used it on, at least. His spell, 8-inch willpower duel that does 2 damage called Spycraft. If it gets a raise, it gives out slow, which is pretty good. He's got a stone trigger on that takes it again, drawing range and line of sight from chosen ally, but it also has crit strike, so it can do 3 damage and draw out secrets, so you can put ski markers down. He has 2 tactical actions, a standard like full action tactical that heals a friendly model 2, possibly healing them an additional 1 with the trigger, and then he has a signature called Expanding Influence, which is pretty common, lets you move a minion or an ally. It is worth noting that Harris J5 and the Gearlings are both allies to him because they share the Watchman keyword, but other than that, it's probably just moving minions. What do you think, Dan? Are you Frodshamming?
I'm not a huge fan of this model. He has some of the issues that Altus had. Granted, he's better than Altus somehow.
2 health. Well, First to
yes.
Speak is actually like relevant defensive.
First to Speak's a real defensive ability. His heal doesn't cost a stone. He has 2 more. His magic attack deals 2 damage. So all great things up above and over Altus. I think time moves slowly is actually maybe one of the more interesting things on this card in a niche sense, where if you are summoning models, he can just automatically take the slow off of them.
That's actually a case I didn't really think about. That seems good.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, the summoners in Arcanists are a little unusual. Like there isn't a lot of models that just like summon a guy. I guess Raspy, but like the slow on her summons don't really matter that much, and then maybe more so for Sandeep.
Yeah, Sandeep and Kandara.
Yeah, so that like seems like it might be have a spot there. I haven't played a lot of Sandeep, but that is just where my theory crafting took me with this guy. So kind of an interesting thought there. He seems okay.
All right. What do you think, Roman? Have you been a fraud or a sham with Harrison?
He's been another one where I'm like, I need to put him on the board to see, what comes up on the table that isn't jumping out to me just reading through him, but I keep not doing that thing. Again, I don't think he's bad. He's just not my dapper lycanthrope.
Yeah, that's fair. Cole, what do you think? Frodsham, Harrison? You do it?
So I brought him in a game this week as well, partially because I knew we were recording this and I wanted to have a little bit more opinion on the versatiles I haven't played, and also because, like Roman said, like I wanted to try him and really see what he does. Yeah. I was very pleasantly surprised by him, and I will be hiring him again.
Oh, okay. Do tell.
So he basically does. What's that?
Just overall, or like, I mean, Let's Fix That For You does seem very strong.
Yeah, so he basically does every single thing Altus wants to do, but does it better. He can only remove slow instead of removing any tokens, and that is the only thing Altus has over him, in my opinion.
Yeah.
His attack is actually good, like usable, not great, but usable. And yeah, Let's Fix That For You. Healing 2, 3 on a trigger, and not needing a stone is just pretty solid in a faction that we don't really have a lot of healing in most of our keywords. So it's kind of a unique thing for him if you're not counting the bad way that Altus does it.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize until, having him on the table, Expanding Influence can move himself.
Yeah,
so you don't have to have other allies or other minions around. He is just a 7-stone model that can break engagement and move as a signature.
Yeah.
So he just got me out of some situations that were going to be really tough to get out of otherwise by being able to move and then interact or heal or whatever.
And that's a low enough target number. It's pretty dang reliable.
Yeah, a 4. You probably have a 4. I mean, I played against Silken King Colossus, and he was just scooting around, removing upgrades from people. He was healing people. Activate him early, so he just tanks an entire activation from a min 4 master because that master can't cheat. I mean, I got a ton of value out of him for 7 stones. Maybe that was a one-off. Maybe he was just like the right piece at the right time. But I want to bring him more to see if that sticks around.
Yeah. So I guess ultimately for this boyo then, I think we have to neg flip him in damage. Like he has an attack, it's fine, but it's not great. That's not what you're hiring him for.
It's only good if you're willing to spend stones and brought other watchmen.
For sure, yeah. And then are we specifically like gonna? I think we're gonna neg flip him for scheming. I mean, he can move himself out of combat, but meh.
I would put him utility. Like
utility plus flip for sure.
Utility.
Yeah.
The thing that really resonates with me is that while Roman was talking about let's fix that for you, I think it was Roman, it might have been Dan, but he it is a 2 heal that does not cost a stone, and that is rare.
Yes.
Yeah. Very, very good. We can probably also just do a quick jump cut with Ice Gamin. It's a 3-stone model. It has 3 health. It gives us staggered when it dies, and when enemy models walk away, they take a damage. But it has a bad melee attack that does almost nothing, 1 damage. And if they have a slow, you get a plus whip. And it's Snowball. If it gives a raise, lets you move somebody, which does 2 damage, also an attack. No signature, no tacticals.
He's terrible.
Are we doing anything with this guy? Is this the same sort of deal? We'll talk about the Golem, I think, for sure. But neg flip all 3 categories, move on. Anybody want to say anything about him?
Snowball's a shockingly good attack for his cost. Like if that was stat 5, I would maybe hire one sometimes, maybe, but
two down off like the ideal target for a raise based ability seems kind of bad.
But I mean, in Magic Christmas Land, where you get a raise and a crow, like 2 damage pushing a model and giving it slow is a lot from a 3-stone model.
I agree.
It's just not going to happen before it dies in any like reasonable number of games.
Yeah.
I like him a little more than the Fire Gamin. And you can arc the Snowball through the Arcane Emissary, which is cute.
Yeah,
but
cute.
Otherwise, basically the same bucket.
You should just hire a Gearling if you're going to hire one of these.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Roman, any other thoughts on Mr. Gamin? Ice?
No, I'll just say he's a little cooler than the Fire Gamin.
Nice.
Oh, I see what you did there. All right, well, let's see if this guy's cooler than the Fire Golem. This is the Ice Golem. He's a 10-stone guy. He's got 5 for defense and willpower, speed 6, which is a huge improvement over 3rd edition.
No kidding.
He's got armor. He's got demise reform from ice. So once per turn when he's killed, he can place in base contact with a friendly ice pillar or scheme marker within 6. If he does so, remove the marker to heal 5, which is pretty strong. And Behemoth. So you see this on Peacekeeper, but basically he can't be placed by other models, and when he would be moved by another model, half the distance. Unfortunately, that does work both ways, so it is friendly and enemy, which is kind of sad. On the back side of his card, he's got a 3-inch melee that's stat 6 that does 3 damage, and he can rip a friendly token from the target to increase the damage by 1, so it can be damage 4 with crazy triggers. He's got Mutilate, he's got Knock Aside, he's got Sweeping Strike, and he's got Heave, which is a good trigger on literally every suit. His signature action pulses is a 6-inch target, which is so it's a 6-inch targeted pulse, so pulsing from the target. Enemy models within 3 of the target have to pass a TN13 speed tool or gain slow, which isn't great, but like most models need a 7, so that's like totally thing. And then just like the Fire Golem, he can take 3 irreducible damage for a stone once per turn to make an Ice Gamin in base contact with himself, which I think you're never doing outside of Sandeep or Rasputina, but probably not even in those. Cole, talk to me about the Golem. He's so icy.
He is icy.
Not the bad ice.
I mean, I think he's okay. I'm not willing to call him good.
Okay.
Just because, again, we have so many 8-stone models that do almost as much as he's going to, that it's really tough to justify going to 10 stones for him.
Mm-hmm.
I am a little salty that he is better in Karis than the Fire Golem is, because ripping Burning off is not as big of a downside as some of the other tokens you'd want to rip off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hire him, but I wouldn't ridicule someone because they did. I don't think he's quite worth it for me, but he's a good model.
Okay. Dan, do you have any other thoughts or perhaps dissenting opinions on the Ice Golem?
I think this model's close. I sometimes consider him on informants or against keywords that can, want to kidnap my models. He's just kind of hard to shift because of Behemoth, which is nice, and Reform from Ice is a real defensive ability. But I basically agree, like, his output is a little too low for what I'd hope for from a 10 stone model as far as damage goes. And he's still relatively slow. So I don't often reach for him over like an in-keyword 10 stone model.
If he had a bonus to move or a third attack the way like Irena or the Emissary do, I think it'd be a different conversation.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Roman, do you feel similarly about the Ice Golem?
Yeah, he has a place. And Informants, I think, is a great call out. I would bring him if I was facing a crew that I knew is extra murdery, just because it's not that hard to set up for Reform from Ice. And that allows him also to jump around a little bit if you need him in a couple different spots. Again, I could see hiring him, but it would have to be something where whatever keyword I'm playing, their 10 stone beater or etc. isn't something I think will work well in that matchup or on that table, and for some reason he would. But yeah, I think he and the Fire Golem are weighed down on card space because of Frozen Creation, which just makes me a little sad. Or whatever the fire version is.
Yeah. True. So I think, like, obviously this guy he can be base 4, you know, if you put tokens on people. So I think plus flip for damage for sure, but I don't think this guy's really doing much in way of utility or scheming, unless somebody really feels strongly about plus flipping him in utility.
I would put him a plus flip in utility just because Stinging Cold, like you said, it actually is a real target number for the enemy models to pass.
Yeah.
It can set him up for, hey, you have slow and you only have 4 health left. You're not going to get to use that slow I am. And if they don't, then you just handed out slow to potentially a bunch of people. And if not, you just ate a bunch of cards.
I think there is a floor on how good, you know, walk charge or walk, and then from there pulsing out a 3-inch duel from somebody 6 inches away can be, especially if it's like early on and you're tagging like 5 or 6 models and then suddenly like half of them are slow, unless your opponent wants to cheat their whole hand, I think could be very situationally strong.
Yep.
Yeah, and I do like that Frozen Smash, you decide to pull off the token once you've hit. It's not in italics.
Yeah, that is nice.
Yeah. True. And like trigger on every. Yeah, that's fine. All right. Well, you've made a compelling point. We'll put in plus flip in utility and egg flip in scheming, and then we'll move on to Irena Keene, Altus's robot sister, is an 8 stone model. She's got 11 health. She's got armor, don't turn your back, and expert climber, all upside. Defense 6, willpower 5, and on the back side of her card, she has a pretty good melee. It's a 2-inch stat 6 against defense with 3 damage. And she can remove a friendly marker within 2 inches to receive a plus flip. She has good triggers on every suit. She can give out, or she can gain Aura Hazardous. She can get an extra raise. She can do more damage to a nearby model. And she can ignore Fortitude defenses, which is pretty good. And then her signature action, Fade into Memory, targets a marker and then pulses out a TN12 defense duel to do 2 damage, but importantly removes the marker. So you probably don't want to be doing it on yours, but it plus, you know, as a bonus rips enemy scheme markers off. And you have a trigger to take a melee action which receives an egg flip, although it's not like through the marker, so you do have to still be in range of somebody when you do it. And she can place immediate contact with Altus, who you're not going to hire. Cole, what do you think? Irena, have you Irened a Keene?
She I think is the 8 stone versatile, because we have so many, that I hire the least, but I think it's because I forget about her. I need to hire her more.
It's very flavorful.
A speed 7 expert climber min 3 model that critically has don't turn your back, I think is something that you should remember exists in the faction and is great counter tech for crews that you otherwise don't have a great answer to. Like I played against Tull last week, and having a single don't turn your back model won me the game because there's just no way to stop them from interacting beyond that.
Sure.
So remembering that she has that, I think, is the important thing.
Yeah, she's very forgettable, as Dan mentioned. Lol.
Well, she just blends into the sea of other models her costs that all kind of do the same thing. But
Yeah.
that is the thing that sets her apart, and I think makes her actually have a role.
Yeah, no, but I mean that literally used to be an ability on the
Oh, yeah,
card.
that's
in
true.
third edition.
I think that's like her lore. She like you forget her. People forget
Yeah.
her. Sure.
Yeah, she's got a perception filter. It makes sense.
Yep.
Is that who? That's Doctor Who, right?
Yes.
That's who. Fantastic. Dan, what do you think? Irena Keene? You Keene?
Yeah.
Irene?
I'm of the same mind. She's niche, but her niche can be very powerful and very relevant. Especially, I think, if the table expert climber is relevant for, or your opponent's going to be making a lot of markers, so you can get value out of Fade into Memory. She can be super relevant and definitely worth keeping in mind.
Yeah. What do you think, Robin? Any keen knowledge to impart upon us?
I have taken her more than I've taken J5. At this point, I've taken her more than I've taken the Arcane Fate, but I would say that's because I was kind of purposefully ignoring it for a while. But honestly, re-looking at her again, I'm like, to me, it's kind of a coin flip on one versus the other. And I think what the other two have said is very key of, do you need Don't Turn Your Back, and or do you need marker removal? Because that Fade into Memory, while also causing a bunch of duels potentially, and then you can also just, here's a stone for an extra attack. Sure.
Mhm.
You do that, you hire her and do that twice, and you've just paid the cost for the Ice Golem, and you're getting arguably more out of her.
Yeah, that's you're not wrong. I think the thing that really stands out to me here is the fact that she's a speed 7 model with expert climber.
Yes.
Expert climber is such a strong ability because people forget about it all the time, and then
All
you
the
just like
time.
suddenly charge your 50 mil model 7 inches through a building, or like walk up next to it and then charge through a building. So like you can't, because 7th edition, because 4th edition is such a terrain-based game, and cover is like such an important thing that happens all the time. People instinctively like are moving towards starting to hug buildings, and Irena really takes advantage of that in a super strong way. So this is like I still think what do you call them there? Exorcists are just like the best minion in guild. It's crazy. They're so
Oh, absolutely.
so basically I think we're plus flipping her for damage for sure. I think that Fade into Memory marker removal generally I think pretty much automatically wins her a plus flip in utility, but also for Don't Turn Your Back. And I think like she doesn't do too much scheming for in and of herself, so maybe neg flip here. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah,
I feel like
she doesn't have any way to break engagement, and she doesn't have a bonus to move, and doesn't drop ski markers. So for me, she isn't really, scheming at all.
If
Yeah,
anything,
I'm
she's
still
counter scheming, but
Yeah, I'm still sort of in the do we include counter scheming in scheme, or do we include counter scheming in utility? I think utility is sort of where I'm ending up on the thought.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, and then we just have one more versatile to talk about. This is a mechanical rider. It's the highest cost versatile in the crew. It's 11 stones. He has 10. She has 10 health. It's a robot, so I don't know. They have 10 health. I'm not sure what they're probably sentient because they're a rider. So who can say? But they chase fate. So when they are dealt damage, you can drain a stone to reduce turn number damage. So 1 damage on turn 1, 4 damage on turn 4. Unfortunately, to a minimum of 1. They're cumbersome, so they can't scale. Again, they can climb, but they can't scale. I don't know how that works on a horse, especially a robot horse, but it's what it is. Lone Rider unfortunately means that they cannot be targeted by the actions of friendly models, but they have the actual worst nemesis of all the riders. The magic abilities of enemy models within 3 are blank. It's good if in certain circumstances, but like if you don't have magic abilities, it doesn't do anything.
It's niche as hell, but there are a couple of matchups where it's a big deal.
It's niche as hell. You're right. The back of this card, it really is sort of a headache. It does so much fucking shit. It's kind of crazy. I probably shouldn't swear, but I don't fucking care. So I'm reading here.
There it is.
That's New York, not really Boston, but that's fine. So it has a 1-inch or 8-inch gun, 1-inch melee or 8-inch gun chain spear, which does 3 damage, which is good. It's 11 stones, so it's fucking better. Skill 6. Weirdly, it has a unique trigger called Arcane Ritual. So once per activation, draw X cards, discard X -1 cards, where X is the turn number. So you're filtering your hand early a little bit, and late quite a lot. Just like every other rider, it has two signature tactical actions. We have Reveling Creation and Ride With Me. The Ride With Me is just a, move 5, put someone else in base contact, but its unique twist on that is Twist Fate. Ho-ho. Select up to 5 non-joker cards across any discard piles, and they're shuffled into the appropriate deck. The math on that is such that that's actually like a pretty substantial upswing if you have flipped a bunch of 13s and 10s and 11s and 12s early, and it's also a pretty significant downswing if, like, mid to late turn, you're shuffling 5 1s back into your opponent's deck. Although I guess if you're shuffling 5 1s back into your opponent's deck, you probably need to have a different conversation with them because they're not allowed to have that, but you get my point. And then lastly, their special Revel ability, theirs is Reveling Creation, is each enemy model within range may discard a card. This model may make 1 ski marker in base contact with every enemy model within range that does not discard the card, which is insane, but even more insane, for 2 Soulstones, once per game, you can select a strategy marker within range and place it within 6 of its location, not in base contact with any models. What a card. Roman, tell me, Rider?
She is another one that I keep looking at and going, I want to hire you.
Yeah.
And then I look at the cost and go, what 2 models or model and a half, since you can't really take model and a half, but what 2 models are you dropping from this crew? And that's the part I keep having trouble with.
A strong question.
Yeah, and I think she's good. She's just one of those that I need to knuckle down and go, you know what? I'm not bringing these other 2 things this time, and I'm going to force her to be worth her cost.
Yeah. I think you should, for what it's worth, but I'd like to hear what Cole and Dan have to say. So, Dan, tell me, what do you think?
Yeah.
You riding?
I don't think I have hired this. I haven't hired this model yet, but I kind of feel the same way. There's a lot on this card that feels like it should be really good. Yeah. But 11 stones, and it's only got 10 health, and it is certainly like a hog for stones. Like, you're going to be spending stones in the game on this thing, in addition to its already high cost. So that makes it kind of spooky for sure. And if it dies early, then you're really in the hole.
Yes, If this dies early, you're pretty boned. I completely agree.
But I think Revel in Creation is good. Your opponent is either going to dump a bunch of cards or you're going to shotgun a bunch of ski markers onto the table. So for certain schemes that matters, and then Clockwork Revelation can just win you a game potentially, without any real interaction from your opponent. And of course, Ride With Me is just it's as good as it's always been. So this is a weird model. It's been hard to justify, but I definitely need to give it a shot and put it through its paces and see if it lives up to the potential.
Yeah. Cole, talk to me about Mechanical Rider. Have you mechanically ridden or ridden mechanically?
No, because I'm kind of in the same spot as the other 2. It on paper, this thing is baller. In practice, again, what 2 models are you not bringing, or what 1 big model are you not bringing, and how are you keeping this 10 wound model alive long enough to do something without just funneling more stones into it?
And Lone Rider is a really
this is an enormous target for any crew that can reach across the table and hit you. I mean, 2 or 3 attacks and it can be over, and you can't heal it because of Lone Rider. So
Lone Rider is a really serious drawback.
Yeah. I really want to bring it. As I'm prepping for Adepticon, Roman and I had an hour-long conversation about, is this the fix to the problem I have with Raspy? But is it worth dropping both silent ones? Probably not. It's just tough to fit in, and it's so scary to have so much of your game plan, not even just stones, but what I'm planning on doing, riding on a model that only has 10 wounds at the end of the day.
These are all valid points. And I'm not trying to sell you a car here, but can I just say,
Reveling Creation is bonkers.
Reveling Creation is nuts. I've been on the receiving end of this a few times now. Reveling Creation is a TN6 ability that can sometimes single-handedly score multiple schemes over multiple turns in a single signature action. Because if you have like a board, whether by terrain or whether by the strategy, has the concept of just like everything funnels towards a specific point, running the mechanical rider in there on turn 2 or 3, whether you're charging in or doing some nonsense or riding with me somebody and then running away because you're an 11 stone with only 10 health, the fact that Revel in Creation can just make your opponent say, okay, well, I can either drop 4, 5, 6 cards and not have a hand anymore, or you're just getting your scheme, is incredibly strong. The other thing that's rad about this is like, this is one of like 16, say like 6 abilities total in the game, maybe, that affect strategy markers. They're like, are so not many. And you can do some fun things with it. Like moving strat markers that aren't supposed to be moved is a huge deal. Like in Informants, if you place this ability can place one of the Informants markers close enough that you're never allowed to move either of them again, which is just like insane value if you're sneaking around a back or running into a flank and ripping your opponent's close one just like into the center, or like, you know, somewhere where it's never going to move again, because neither that one or the other one are allowed to move if they're within 5 inches of each other, because you can't place them more than 3 inches away. You can really fuck up a board with it. Like, really. Is it worth 2 stones? Honestly, probably not. But there's stuff you can do. I really like this model. I think out of all the riders, this is the most intriguing rider. And I don't know that it's the best rider. No, that's not true. I do know that it's not the best rider. But, oh boy, does it sound just like such an Arcanist fucking model, you know?
It is very fucking Arcanist.
Dude, it's so Arcanist.
I think we collectively need to just like nut up and put it on the table, because it sounds like none of us actually have. So obviously, like, you know, it's a 3 damage model. It's fast. I think beating absolutely 100%. There's no question it's a plus whip there. The card draw probably puts you in a position where it's worth, or sorry, not the card cycling on the melee, the card discarding from your enemy, or making a shit ton of scheme markers and ride with me. I mean, any model with ride with me, I think, just gets an auto plus whip in utility, quite frankly.
Absolutely.
And the scheme potential is cracked. This actually might legitimately be like a double plus flip or triple plus flip in scheming.
I think if this doesn't have a triple plus on scheming, I'm not sure what could justify one.
Could, right?
Yeah.
Now, that being said, asterisk on all 3 of these. Is it a hireable model? I do not know. 11 is so many stones. But that's it. That concludes the versatiles for Arcanists. So let's, without further ado, let us discuss the keywords. So the first keyword, if you open the app and try and make a crew, is Colette's keyword, not smuggler. Performer. Is Colette's keyword Performer. So the Performer crew has 2 crew cards. With Colette Smuggler, you have the ability to, when declaring interact actions at less than 5 soul stones, infuse one if they're on the enemy table half on every single minion. And when your minions activate, it can drain any number of stones to heal 1 for each stone drained. Unique performers get make a decoy marker in base contact and then heal 2 and displace by 4. Colette, Star of the Show, on the other hand, gets Dress Rehearsal, which lets models resolve the interact action on the enemy table half to gain a Backtrack token, which is her unique token that lets you take a duel that you just flipped and completely negate it, as long as it didn't have any red jokers, and just reflip it again. I'm discarding all the cards involved. And friendly unique performers in Star of the Show gain Showstopper, which is a stone and signature tactical action that has a TN of 6 that only targets friendly scheme or decoy markers, and you place in base contact with the target and then interact. That is basically unaffected by any of the restrictions for interacting. Roman, you're a Coletti type. Yeah, you've always struck me as a Coletti boy. What do you think? What do you got for this crew? How do you think she'd play in? Do you have a hard preference, one or the other? And are there any like really hardcore call out unique abilities models?
The only other thing I would call out is you might want to talk about what the decoy markers do.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So decoy markers in and of themselves, when any performers is dealt damage within 3 of 1, you can place in base contact with it to reduce the damage by 1 and then remove this marker. Importantly, getting them the hell out of dodge.
Yeah.
In most cases.
Yeah, and the way I usually explain that narratively to my opponent, because I'll say that and they're like, that was a lot of words in order, in an order. I don't know what it means. And I go, well, essentially, you hit me, but I was actually an illusion of myself, and I was standing over there. But you doing that, I got like, I don't know, some shrapnel or something. Or I'm hurt that you thought that was actually me. And now I'm over there.
Probably that. Yeah, you're just like, I can't believe this.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I would say, I don't know, it's the performers. I'm hugely biased. They are one of my favorite crews in all of Malifaux. Only Ivan and Brewy probably are also on that list, and don't ask me to put them on a like metal pedestal, because I will not answer that.
Okay.
But the thing that always kept me from really suggesting them to a new player previously in previous editions was they were very strong but brittle. Like, they usually had some interesting defensive things, but there were very common ways to just come at them and break them, and then they were dead. And they still are squishy, but overall they do hit a little harder than in previous editions, and because of the decoys and a few other things they have, they are more forgiving defensively. They're not a generalist crew. They can do a lot of scoring things well, so they can kind of fake being a generalist crew, but they are hell on wheels for scheming. Anything that requires interacts, even though they don't have Don't Mind Me and keyword anymore, they are amazing.
I mean,
is that
they
true?
do,
Yeah.
but yeah,
By
the
any
words
other
"Don't
name.
mind me" never appear,
Yes.
but
Sure.
they-
Okay.
they sure do still have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have fake Don't Mind Me. Notably, on Star of the Show, Take the Stage, Colette, their tactical showstopper, that is essentially Don't Mind Me, except that you also need to set up already having a scheme or a decoy marker where you want them to jump to and spend a stone and flip a 6. Interestingly, because it has a sparkle, even though it's a tactical action, you can do this with a positive flip through the Emissary, which is nice. Yeah, that is something it took me a while to recognize, since I was kind of ignoring the Emissary, but
Which is
that
weird.
yeah.
That
think
is
that's
weird.
a
Is that
typo, because-
I'm almost like, is that a typo?
No, it is, because that symbol is only for attack actions technically. So I don't know. Do with that what
Hey.
you will.
I
That
I
shouldn't be
also
that way.
don't know. Get in the comments.
Dear
Yeah,
Justin.
that's wild.
Yeah. Now, the thing I will say is, Showstopper, I usually only do it once, maybe twice a game. But when I do, it's something that my opponent has kind of forgot I have the ability to do so far. And they're like, oh my god, you just got away from everything I was trying to stop. And I didn't have a way to stop it. I could have put this effort into so many other things as opposed to climbing on top of this strat marker or whatever they were doing. But yeah, I would definitely say to anybody wanting to pick them up, start with Star of the Show. You are on stage. Colette is poofing everyone around in clouds of smoke and glitter. She by herself will score you like all of your points, and the rest of the crew will, do other things. If she's not scoring the points herself, she's moving people into where they're going to score them. And then Smuggler's an interesting one, because so many people are going to see smuggled stones and go, wow, that's cracked and overpowered. And don't get me wrong, it's powerful, but they are paying a premium for the ability to do that. In my experience, those smuggled soul stones, you're not hiring a ton of minions in her crew.
Yeah.
You can.
Importantly, unlike other crew card actions, this is just minions. It's not all performer models.
Yes, this is just minions. You can hire a bunch of minions with her, but I haven't found a situation where that is a game I would go into confidently.
It's fun. It doesn't win all of your games, but it sure is fun.
Excellent. What I have found is those extra stones make using divert attention to heal and move your other people, your uniques, so much easier and less concerning. So I think it works. I don't think it's as cracked as non-Colette players will say when they initially look at this card. But yeah, I think I'll stop talking and let everybody else talk for a little bit.
Yeah, fair enough. Dan, have you Coletted much?
Yes, I've been playing a decent bit of Colette. I think this keyword's really good. Don't Mind Me is obviously very powerful, and it isn't just on the Take the Stage crew card, but also Showgirls, which are a big feature of this, and you'll see them a lot against this keyword. Have Curtain Call, which is a signature TN5 to declare an interact action. That interact ignores engagement, and it can target a marker with one or more enemies in base contact. So functionally, an interact with Don't Mind Me. The one thing it doesn't ignore is if you took the disengage action. So a disengage walk, rather. So that's something to keep in mind. But Showgirls are excellent models, and they do a lot of
scheming work for the crew. And then also to kind of comment on the the discussion about Smuggler and the minions in the crew. Like I mentioned, like Showgirls are great, and there's also a list that people have been running around with for specifically plant explosives, where you just hire basically as many minions as you can. And just run them at the center line and try to drop bombs off. And often the just amount of AP that you have to do that is able to get you like a pretty significant lead on the strategy.
Yeah.
And then one other thing I wanted to highlight about this crew is Dorian Crow, who is a 7-stone model. The big thing on this guy is that he has a signature action, which is a TN5 6-inch pulse that lets your allies each move 2 inches. There's no once per turn restriction on that, so you can just do that 3 times if you want to. So he just gives your whole crew a walk action at the start of the game, which makes your unpack quite efficient in a lot of situations, especially on something like corner.
Yeah, for sure.
To just get up the board. So overall, I think this crew is like honestly quite incredible, and I rate it very highly in the faction.
Yeah.
So the only thing it doesn't do well is fight, which is makes a lot of sense, all things considered. But its strengths definitely make up for that.
Yeah.
I will call out one quick thing. I believe the Showgirls do ignore leaving engagement because of the way the engagement section of the rules is worded. One of the bullet points is when an engaged model declares the walk action, blah, 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 reduce the speed. But the second bullet point under that is if it leaves engagement, it cannot declare the interact action until the end of the current activation. If you are ignoring engagement, you don't care if you left engagement, is how I've seen that interpreted.
That's fair. The only reason I thought it didn't work that way is because I've seen it specifically called out elsewhere, including on Showstopper. But you might be correct about that. I'm not sure.
I don't know that I would rule that way, but that's definitely something that I would ask about.
Check with your TO.
I don't know. Yeah, it depends. I guess. Yeah, interesting. I can look that up later. Maybe I'll put it in the comments. But I think importantly, it sounds like we're trending towards neg flip for beater plus scheme and utility for sure. Do you have anything within that context to add, Cole? Nothing crazy?
Yeah, I mean they don't hit very hard. Like even in keyword, even their best beaters are okay at best.
Yeah.
I mean, Smuggler, if the stars align, can really put a hurt on someone.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, she can just do 6 damage like 3 times. You know,
Yeah,
that's like a real thing, but-
or you know, if you flip a red Joker on her or the duets melee, I think they have some of the highest ceiling of damage in the game. But on anything that isn't that, you know, God forbid your opponent has cover.
Yeah, for sure.
But where they don't have beatiness, and you know, maybe you rely on some of the versatilles that we talked about earlier to achieve that.
Yeah.
They do make up for it in a really big way on just how efficient they are at scoring points, which is how, you know, performers should play.
Yeah. And
I do
also,
think that
that's
in a
how you
big
win.
way they're kind of carrying the faction a little bit. Like, I think if people say like, oh man, Arcanists are so good, they're probably talking about like Colette and Karis and forgetting the rest of the faction exists. At least in my experience.
Yeah. So where do you think this group particularly excels? I mean, do you think are we putting her either Colette in a plus flip for Boundary Dispute or Informants? I think probably both. Yeah.
Boundary Dispute, I would argue she's a triple positive.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Yeah.
She's
Specifically
our
because
best master for Boundary Dispute, I would say, by far.
Yeah. So Boundary Dispute and Plant, I think she's best in the faction for sure, and top 3 in the game at both of those.
yeah, for Boundary and Plant.
I would give her a negative on Recover for sure, and probably for Informants. She's got lots of ways to move people around, but the crew doesn't really love to go like stand next to an Informant's marker and just be there for a while. That's not really their game plan.
Yeah, I would agree with that on Informants. I would argue a little bit on Recover. They just play it a little differently. Their whole game is, I am going to grab the initial Recover marker. I'm going to stop you from picking yours up. I'm going to carve out like one of your models, and I'm going to play keep away with the rest of mine. I wouldn't go so far as to say they're good at it, but they have a way to play it.
I would still give them a negative personally. Like, I think you're playing on the back foot and you're forced to play in such a hyper specific way that yes, they can play it, but it's not what they're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely agree. At best, I would say they're a neutral flip, but we're not allowed to do that here.
We're not allowed to do that here, so we're giving them a neg flip. Sorry.
I think that's fair.
So you heard that's the verdict. Boundary and Plant plus flip, Informants and Recover neg flip.
However many pluses we're allowed to give them on Boundary and Plant.
Yeah.
Boundary and Plant. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, you know what? It's Colette. We can triple plus flip it. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll. Yeah. Get in the comments, I guess.
Boundary, I have had multiple games where I've had all 3 of my strats over the center line, and 2 of theirs kicked back into their deployment zone. Turn wild. Yeah.
That's really aggressive, and you shouldn't be mean to people like that. Well, perhaps we'll have to call the Badlands Sheriff on you. Let's good segue, yeah? Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Plus two.
So this Arcanist, who is new to the faction and definitely new to this video because he hasn't been mentioned before, and I didn't cut a huge take where I made like 30 mistakes. Future Brandon, don't cut this. We have Badlands Sheriff and Lone Verdict. Badlands Sheriff functions around giving out bounty tokens to his enemies. Those bounty tokens can then be ripped off by 3 separate attack actions that all friendly non-peons, because of course he can still make those stupid fucking traps. Although you can't trap your opponent in their deployment zone by hiring 40 of them. Shout out to that one guy.
Yeah.
And nonetheless, so all your friendly non-peons gain 3 special attack actions that are all our spell at range 10 that do different things by ripping the bounty token off. You have one that does 3 damage from 6 against defense from range 10, which is pretty strong. One lets you place the target in base contact with one of your allies within 6 inches of itself, which is a 7 duel against speed. And one lets you make the target take an interact action controlled by this model, which means it drops your scheme markers, but unfortunately still drops their plant. Generally, though, pretty good. Also, friendly unique frontier models gain claim bounty. So after resolving an attack action, you can rip a friendly token from the target to heal 2, which is good. And the bounty tokens themselves are actually pretty good. If you're not ripping them off for the actions and they stay on when you kill somebody, the crew that applied the token, which is Baz's crew, presumably, gets to draw a card. Lone Verdict plays kind of differently with a similar bit. So friendly non-beast non-peons, which means no eagles either, gain just doing my duty. So after this model succeeds in an attack action targeting an enemy model, they gain a badge, which is not at all like Dashel's token, where they get what's that one called? I don't remember. Promotion. Yeah. It's a badge, not a promotion. That's different. Frontier's Finest is when this model ends its activation, you can remove a badge from your models to either remove a ski marker within 2, which is pretty good, move up to 4, which is really good, and kick up the dust, which lets allies within 2 of this model gain a hidden token. So in addition to badges, this guy gives badges, which when you would be killed, instead you can discard a card and pitch the token to heal 2, or remove it at the end for any of the fancier abilities. But also he really focused around giving out exposed and hidden for his models, which gives you cover always, and it goes away and at the end phase. And exposed, which means your models can't gain, or whichever has exposed, I guess, can't gain cover, which goes away in the end phase, and they cancel each other out. So I don't know how many, because you guys are all, I guess, well, at least I know Roman and Cole mostly are Arc players from previously, although I think, Roman, you have a lot of Explorer stuff. Has anybody gotten Bass to the table frequently and feels comfortable going over how he plays?
I wouldn't say frequently, but I've played him an amount.
Yeah, Dan, have you gotten any Bass?
I've only played him once or twice, and only Lone Verdict because I was procrastinating on putting together my clockwork traps. So I have not had a lot of playtime with him. Well, just some impressions.
Yeah, fair enough. So Cole, why don't you talk us through their rankings here? What do you think?
Yep. So they're an interesting crew. They're a fair bit different from other stuff in Arcanist. For me personally, Badlands Sheriff is the only Bass title that exists. I haven't found any real reason to run Lone Verdict. He just doesn't seem to do anything interesting or competitive. But the bounty tokens are pretty great. I mean, giving your summoned raptors a 3 damage attack from 10 inches away, or the real spicy thing is you basically obey them to interact, which might drop your schemes, might pick up their plant, might do all kinds of annoying stuff. But when they do that interact, if they're within range of either of the Basses, they get the bounty token right back because you get it from interacting.
Yeah, and I think one of the Bernadettes, right?
Well, yeah, that's why I said either.
The Basses. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Well,
your master or nephew. Either way. Okay. So yeah, if you were in range and you remove the bounty token and successfully make them interact, they just get it back. So you can, it's a signature. You can have a raptor, obey 3 interacts in a turn if you can get that off. I mean, it can be really game swinging. It's something that we don't really have that kind of control-y, obey-y thing in Arcanists. So that's really what I kind of focus on when I'm playing these guys.
Yeah.
Plus the Sandworm is sick. You have an 8-stone min 4 model, and that's pretty cool.
Yep. Wow. Yeah, that is pretty cool. I don't disagree. Dan, what do you think Bass wise? Any particular I don't know, thoughts, strats?
Yeah. So
schemy BD utility stuff.
Bass is really cool. I like the flavor of the keyword. I think like my impression from like a high level of this keyword is that it's kind of a like jack of all trades. It can do a lot of different stuff. And especially Badlands Sheriff has like a lot of versatility with the bounty tokens to do certain things. But I don't know how much it excels compared to other keywords.
It doesn't specialize in much of anything, really.
Yeah. I know you weren't a big fan of Lone Verdict, Cole, but the badge tokens I do think are kind of interesting from the perspective of something like informants or recover evidence, where you want your guys to not die. Because
it's the discarding a card that kills it for me, but yeah. I see what you mean.
That's totally fair, and I in practice I've kind of felt similarly about it. when the handful of times I played it. But nevertheless, it does make someone who like Jonathan Reichart, who has hard to kill, it's like an extra layer of like it's really annoying to kill this model on top of that. So plus the hidden tokens give you cover, which often ends up being concealment as well for some of your models. So I do tend to agree that like I don't know how strong that game plan really ends up being compared to what other things are doing. But overall, I think it's a cool crew. Just doesn't necessarily stand out in terms of power level compared to other stuff.
Yeah. Roman, any final thoughts on Bass as a crew?
So I've been kind of ignoring them because not only do I not own them, but on Steam-Powered Scoundrels, Doug has been playing them in preparation for the next 1st and 10 that we're doing.
Okay.
So, but I do kind of have a couple of his mentions that he's thrown around after a game or two. And one of his biggest things he wanted to call out, pretty much from what I remember, agreeing with what both Dan and Cole have said, they don't really specialize, but they're kind of decent at everything. The biggest thing that jumped out to Doug was they have a rather small hiring pool, which is not doing them any favors.
Yeah.
That said, this is... I don't know of another crew in the game that can field 4 in keyword don't turn your back models, because they have it on a 5-stone minion and the sandworm.
True.
Okay.
That's fair
All
enough.
right. Yeah.
Throw an Irena.
Throw an Irena.
Yeah.
Just, I have 5 models. If you engage any of them, you're not playing the game.
Yeah.
So
You're just
I
not.
think, maybe there's a world where you play a really weird like control denial bass where no one's allowed to interact unless I'm the one telling them to, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think he's the closest thing we have to a blue jackdaw, and I don't mean making everyone hate your life. I mean he is controlling the game.
Wow.
If you're playing that way.
I just like the idea of Bass getting off because no one else can. And maybe I could word that in a way that's less sexual, but it's just funny to me.
Nah.
I mean, why would you?
Why would I? Yeah, you're not wrong. So in terms of actual like murdering potential, I think we have to afford him a plus flip here. The sandworm's kind of nuts, right? Jonathan
Yes.
Reichardt's kind of nuts. Bass, both versions, I think are pretty strong.
Yep. They do well with damage for sure.
Yeah, and in terms of like scheme potential, I don't think that there's really a whole lot in the crew that's like super schemy. So I do think that like, although with one version you're potentially obeying your opponents to do it, it is a lot of hoops. Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
So I
I
think
think they're better at denying schemes than they are at scoring them, which is
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
a tricky spot to be for a crew.
and for that reason and for the control, I think I'd like to say plus flip in utility for sure, and then just next
Yes.
flip them on scheming.
Yep.
I think
Sure,
that
yeah.
that seems pretty reasonable. And in terms of what schemes they excel at because of this denial and killing, so like informants and recover is the first place that makes me think. I feel like informants seems like it should be something that they're good at, but maybe that's not your experience. I don't know.
I think it would be. You've got the sandworm who can start from shadows and is kind of speedy with terror from below. You've got more ranged presence than some other crews to stand on one marker and threaten another. And you've got tricks like the Wanted Alive on the bounty token crew card.
Yeah.
To just win a duel
just,
and move.
just kidnap people for sure.
Yeah.
And I think for a similar reason, especially just like crew card nonsense, the badge tokens having an extra hard to kill for some models, I think recover probably.
Yep. We didn't talk about Bass himself, but he does have a pretty nutty melee. It's 3 damage and gain staggered and move the target 2 and move yourself 2 just on the printed attack. That's not any triggers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is very reminiscent of his Shackles in 3rd edition, right? So if he hits, he just does it. Yeah.
And it's against speed, so when you get something staggered, like suddenly it's like they're double injured.
That's true. It does as a little scornergy there though, because it does give out staggered, and also 6 against speed is much worse than it used to be. Whereas the blanket is basically 6, so it's like almost like reverse. But
His gun also gives staggered, so there's like other ways to get it. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's a good melee for informants specifically, because you knock someone off of the marker and get yourself onto it.
For sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then so I think informants plus flip, recover. I think I'm inclined to say plus flip unless anyone wants to disagree.
I think so.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
But I don't think that he particularly excels at plant explosives or boundary dispute in any way, unless because like I guess especially with like the sandworm, right? Sandworm doesn't get a plant explosives marker, right? Because it's not deployed at the start of the game, which is the current ruling. Maybe that'll change, but I think that's the answer. So I think neg flip on recover informants, and we can talk the next keyword. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Cool. So Damien's a boy. He's gonna make you witness him. That's what he does. He wants to get all shiny and chrome. There are 2 versions, which will surprise you. I don't know why I keep saying that. It's fucking every single keyword in the game, but there are 2, aspirant and unbound. Also, fun fact: this is the smallest keyword in the game by a wide margin.
So much.
Yeah. So aspirant.
Also, fun fact: he's the only keyword in the entire game that lost their Wave 5 models.
Yeah, sure is. Yeah.
No.
Blackbird used to be Colette, and they're gone now. What's that?
Urami also lost theirs to Daw.
Yeah.
Yes, but Urami
they don't need them.
Had to go.
Yeah, they don't need them.
Yeah.
But
I did not know that.
Urami wasn't a Wave 4 new to the game, which is the trick here. The smallest keyword by far. So aspirant, once per game, when you pick a scheme at the end of the turn, you can lose 3 soul stones to pick any scheme that you haven't already picked, regardless of next available schemes, which is kind of nuts. That is just a thing they could do. I don't know if anyone's ever going to do that. What's that?
That is a lot of stones, but man, that could decide a game.
It sure does. And friendly witness models gain magical repository. So after a duel where you empowered, you gain an adaptable token, which is pretty strong. And then unique witness models get the long game. For 5 or higher, you can, within 6 inches, make a scheme marker, pulse out a TN12 willpower duel for stunned to enemy models within 2 of that marker. And if you're so inclined, spend a stone to resummon the totem if it's dead. Unbound, on the other hand, has for all friendly witness model gain arcane threads, so they can arc non-melee, non-general actions from allies that have adaptable tokens within 8. And then unique models gain 2 action. Well, they gain 1 action because you're never taking the other one, but they gain a signature action that gives out staggered on a TN7 that's just enemy only and it's unresisted, which is pretty fucking strong. And then they gain ritual setup, which I'm not going to read because you're not going to do it. Cole, what do you think, Damien?
Yeah, I have been pretty down on Damien, but I've recently given him another shot, and I like him more now that I kind of understand what he's trying to do.
Yeah, it's not straightforward. I played a good number of games against Damien.
Not even remotely straightforward,
but
what he's good at. I do think aspirant is probably the kind of the default stronger one of the 2, just because long game is such an incredible crew action to give to uniques. Despite having a small keyword, he does have some cheap uniques, and you are between wanting adaptable and wanting cheap uniques. You are just stapling the effigy to this crew, like
absolutely
not taking him for any reason. But one thing I really like with him is because dabblers are a 5-stone model with a signature to move, he's shockingly good at boundary dispute just because of volume of AP. You could also go unbound and do that through obeys and stuff like that, but like just a really straightforward, I have a lot of little guys that move fast and I can make schemes wherever I need them, and stunned really shuts down some crews in the game and makes for some nice matchups for you.
And there are not a lot of crews that give out stun nowadays. Stun is pretty thin on the ground.
It is rare and powerful. I'm glad it's rare because there was way too much of it in 3rd.
Yeah, I completely agree. Dan, do you have any Ravencroft-esque
Yeah, this is probably the keyword I've played the most so far in Arcanists.
Shit, I would have started with you. I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah,
that's
you should have
all
said
right.
first.
I didn't think about it until we were already in there. But yeah, it's I think it's really fun. I agree basically with what's been said so far. Stun is incredible, and it is very commonly present on some of the best keywords in the game, and also does a lot to shut down some of the strongest models in the game, and make them not feel so egregious. So it's obviously very powerful. I also agree that Aspirant is kind of your go-to title here. Unbound is really fun in casual games because you can do stuff like on your heels to a target that's like 18 inches away or something, because of his like noting
Arcane
ability.
Threads.
Yeah, Arcane Threads. So
Mhm.
that's really fun. But I think the economy of that title is like not quite as good, just because you're not generating the adaptable as easily.
It's much harder to get him out.
Yeah, like you're relying on Damien himself plus the totem plus the effigy.
Well, I mean, hear me out though. Like every single model in the whole game can just for an action get one.
That's
Just
true.
saying.
Okay. An action is a high cost though.
Yeah, sure.
I think it is a small keyword, as we mentioned, and it also didn't get the Cavalier treatment where they just got 3 new models with the new edition. We did not.
I feel like it's got to be coming, like
Yeah.
I just think like the first book for this new edition for this new edition, whenever we get that, I feel like we're just gonna get like 5 new Damien models. Like it's got
Yeah.
I hope so.
I hope so,
My
too.
last game was Damien against Cavalier, and my god, did I notice the
Oh, no.
flood of shit he got versus the, barely fills 2 crew boxes for Damien.
yeah, barely. Yeah.
I think all the uniques have a place. Dabblers are perfectly good. Scheme runners, Stolestone Gamin, I'm less confident in.
Mhm.
But they're a 4-stone guy, so I don't have
Yeah.
to expect too much from them.
Yeah.
And I think like power level wise, this crew feels like it's really close. And I think maybe if like they get a few more models, or if the top of the game comes down, they'll be really well positioned to be quite strong. But my experience is that like they like require a lot of a fine touch to get the most value out of their abilities, because you're doing all this stuff when you spend adaptable tokens, and when you gain them you're like moving around, and Damien can move your guys, but he can also move enemies, and confiscated lore is like a whole thing. So like I said, I think it's a great crew. It's a lot of fun. And it also feels similar to Frontier in that I feel like it can approach a lot of the strategies and do pretty decently on them. So yeah,
It's
that's
definitely like
kinda
a
where I'm
high
at.
cognitive load crew, in
Yeah,
my
for
opinion. Like there's so many small decisions to make, and you can make the wrong ones for sure.
Mhm.
It's not like an autopilot crew by any stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Roman, does Croft be a Raven tonight?
Not tonight because I'm speaking with you, but he is on my to-do
Ooh.
list. I have a fun little theme for painting him planned up. But yeah, my understanding of him has definitely been similar to what Cole and Dan said. More or less a generalist crew with a high cognitive load. They don't specialize in any one thing unless it's maybe a bit of control through frustration in handing out things like staggered and stunned, which is a quality all its own. I gotta say, but
Yeah. So I guess at the end of the day, right? Bell and Lohith both have 3 damage on every attack. That's kind of it for beating. I don't know that I'm really super inclined to say plus flip, but like I think that is kind of like a couple native really good beaters is kind of the bar, I guess. So it's close. What do you think?
They're close, especially because Damien is also min 3 and has a damaging signature action.
Yeah, in Aspirant for
Right.
sure. Unbound, that's not.
Yeah,
at
but
all true, but
I would give him a negative on beating, just relative to like what I think of as like a beater crew. They aren't that.
Yeah, Dan, do you feel the same way?
I think I feel pretty similar. I will say Unbound is like, he's weird.
He's weird. Yeah.
I feel
He's
like
got
he
some
can
of
do
that
plenty of
Pandora
damage,
nonsense.
but it's like entirely based on his target, which is obviously kind of a problem. But he's also a skill 7,
sometimes.
so
Yeah. So we'll give him an egg flip and flip it in damage for sure. I think scheming wise, the Dabblers probably blow that one out of the park. I think Dabblers alone put us in plus flip.
I think scheming and utility are both a plus flip for sure. Like
Yeah,
the long game is like amazing for scheming, and then access to stunned and other like adaptable. You always have your triggers, so you're just consistently doing what you want to do in that category.
Yeah,
I
think
agree.
that's fair. Roman, any dissent?
Nope.
Cool.
Yeah, I think they're a solid B tier crew that, with new releases or some errata could rise up for sure.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I think for a lot of their scheme utility though is not specifically the interact action, it's making scheme markers. But how do we feel boundary and plant? I think plus flips for both because Dabblers are just super good at both.
Yeah. Dabblers are
so.
carrying them pretty
Plus
hard
flips
there.
for both.
As far as informants or recover is concerned, I think informants they probably fare better on because they have a lot of movement for themselves, but they're not super durable. So like, I don't know.
Yeah, I like them on informants because they have plenty of forced movement. Like I think almost every unique model has something they can do for that.
Yeah.
And so
they are a little more durable than their card suggests because stunned is defensive tech too. If you're not getting signature attacks and crit strikes, like you are just taking less damage through that.
That's true. Do you think that's enough to justify a plus flip and recover though?
Not in recover, no. I don't think they have
Yeah.
the beef to push through a real recover crew.
I think I'm happy to give them a plus flip in informants. I will say also it's worth noting for scheming, which I didn't even mention, Legitimate has false claim. It's like one of the only there's like 3 models or 4 models in the entire game with false claim now. That action is
he
just
can
cracked.
in Unbound he can arc false claim through another model with adaptable.
He sure can.
Sweet.
What a time. Okay. Let's jump down the line to Iron Threaded Karis.
Yeah, buddy.
And or Karis Reborn. Those are both cards. So we have 2 Karises, which I feel the need to tell everybody still. Karis Iron Threaded is a lady all about them robots and non-peons gain Frantic Triage, friendly only remove a token from the target and summon a Steam Arachnid. Pretty good. Doesn't specify an enemy token, so you can, concentrate and then, or you can prepare for a token and rip it off that way if you want. Another signature action that can only target friendly Steam Arachnids. Enemy models within Pulse 3 gain Burning and are dealt 1 damage, and then you kill the Steam Arachnid. And then lastly, friendly Wildfire constructs, such as Steam Arachnids, gain Redline. When this model activates, it can drain a stone and gain Burning to declare the walk action. She gives out fire, which is like Aura Hazardous Fire. That's kind of the vibe there. Burning Man's Prayer is Karis Reborn's crew card, which is a fervor bar. So it's a one of those crew cards with the power bar. The following cumulative effects apply based on where your fervor is at. On 1 fervor, you damage from friendly burning tokens is dealt to enemy models within X inches instead of base contact. X is equal to the fervor bar, so it goes 1, 2, 3. At 2 fervor, friendly burning tokens don't go away at the end phase, so they just stay unless they're removed from some other way. And then at 3 fervor, attacks targeting enemies with friendly burning tokens that deal +1 damage, which is kind of fucking nuts. Lastly, friendly cult wired wildfire model, so the other half of the crew that's not all about the arachnids, gain if they're within 1 inch of the center line, they can spend an AP and a stone to heal 2 and gain a burning token, which is how you increase their fervor, but you can only do it if it's not been increased this turn. You get to increase it by 1. So you can get it up to 1 on turn 1, 2 on turn 2, and 3 on turn 3. I don't know if there's another way to increase it. I don't think there is.
No, it's only that action.
Yeah. And there's no way to reduce it as far as I'm aware either.
Correct.
Yeah. So Cole, I know Karis is your girl.
She is my girl.
Walk us through how these two wildly different same keyword play.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can get more different in one keyword because she really has two keywords in one. You have the constructs and the cultists, and then you have, a very slim overlap between them. Reborn is a ton of fun. I don't find her super competitive. I think she has a little bit too many hoops to jump through, that if you aren't just like dominating from turn one, you're probably going to fall behind and your crew mechanics aren't enough to save you. Iron Threaded, though, is the shit. She is my favorite master this edition, and it's not close. Redline isn't flashy, but man, is it good to just get to take a move when you activate. You do take damage because you get burning, but you probably don't for reasons. And when you get burning, your totem gives you hastened. So the really famous trick everyone's afraid of is Karis activates, she moves 9 inches, and then she charges another 9 inches, and then she shoots you from 12 inches away, all in her first action, and she has flight. So her threat range is 30 inches. Good luck.
Yeah, that's a lot for a 3 damage attack with relevant triggers that can damage multiple walls.
Like the attack isn't, like, for a master, isn't anything crazy. It can't get raises, so it's gonna do 3 damage. She can only do more damage if you have burning and she gets a trigger. But Frantic Triage and Burst the Core are a really potent pair of crew card abilities that kind of unlock how, like, the crew's core gameplay loop. And just being able to, every model having built-in token removal that can remove friendly burning or any enemy tokens, and you get a really useful peon out of it, solves a lot of matchups that in other keywords would be really, really tricky to deal with on, like, token-based crews. But they are blindingly fast. They don't hit super hard. They do rely on the burning to do some damage for them. But Karis or the Mecharachnids, which I always hire 2 of, when they blow up a arachnid to give you burning and damage, they also drop a scheme marker. So they've got a lot of good incidental scheming as they're doing the things that they want to do anyway. So I love this crew.
Okay. All right. Roman, have you played much Karis?
I have. Probably after Sandeep and Colette. She's the one I've played the most this edition so far. And Cole knows her better than I do, but I'm pretty much right with him the whole way. I would say if Damien's kind of the generalist that doesn't specialize, her crew is so specialized in speed and the innate ability to drop markers when they kill stuff on those couple models that they kind of specialize their way into potentially being generalists.
Yeah.
Up we go on Karis at skill 4 versus size is amazing, especially in places where it's like, I need you to be in a certain area or not be in a certain area. And they have all kinds of crazy movement shenanigans. I know Cole was talking about being afraid of Karis's 30-inch range, but the Boilermaker or Howard can also be nonsense. So yeah, you have a number of kind of frontline pouncing concerns, and then you have stuff following up that just get you points. So yeah, I love them. They're great.
Yeah. Fair enough. Dan, do you have any Karis thoughts?
I don't have much to add. Karis is a keyword, rather Wildfire is a keyword I have not really played at all. Because I don't own it. But I basically agree with what they're saying. Like, Iron Threaded is cracked. Her threat range is just bananas. Like, you're just putting attacks into your opponent's deployment on corner, turn 1. So obviously that is, I mean, I don't know if you necessarily want to do that every time, but it is a thing that you can do, and sometimes that matters. So yeah, she seems great. I don't have much else to add though.
Yeah. Well, so in terms of the rankings, right? So beating wise, she has a bunch of really killing models. I don't know that you're really hiring Fire Golem. It sounds like Cole is pretty opposed, but it is it does have a really good melee attack. Boilermaker though and Howard Langston are I think uniquely positioned to be usable in Iron Threaded and also Karis Reborn, or is Hank Langston not Cult? He's not Cult. Well, still. Langston has been a beater forever. I think he's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, you probably don't bring Howard in Cult because he's not benefiting from much of the stuff, to be honest, and his command construct isn't going to go nearly as far.
Sure.
Since Boilermaker is construct and Cult, he can show up in both places for sure.
Yeah. So I feel inclined to give Karis a plus flip in damage. Is my point.
Agreed.
If anyone wants to talk me out of it, now's your chance.
I think a plus flip is fair. I think she doesn't do well going toe to toe with other damage crews.
Yeah.
I know that's not really what we're talking about here, but I don't actually love her in Recover. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
She can't take the hit as well as she can dish it.
I think so for sure. But scheming wise, she can definitely put scheme markers down. I have no question about that. At the very least, in Iron Threaded. So I also am inclined to give her a plus flip there. She has a lot of fast models that have a lot of movement and incidental just scheme marker dropping all over the place. But I don't, and also obviously utility. She can move all of her models everywhere. The burning is nice. She can summon. She can take extra. She has command constructs. It's very. What's that?
She has Howard and Karis both command construct, or a different name of it.
Yeah. Karis is overclock, but it's command construct plus also you get hastened, right? It's pretty strong. Plus you can chain activate with it, right? So I think plus flip everywhere. That being said, I think you're right. I think she really struggles with this sort of staying alive portion of Recover Evidence. So I think that's probably not it. And although I think Plant Explosives, because of her movement, is so strong that we'll plus flip there. A lot of her scheming ability doesn't really come from the ability to take interacts. It's more putting extra markers down. So I don't think that I would really care much for her in Boundary, but maybe I'm wrong.
She's okay at it. The problem is where she gets her extra movement is at the start of the activation.
Yes.
So she can get to any marker once, but almost no one can interact with the same marker twice, and that's really what you want in Boundary Dispute.
Yeah. So I think I'm inclined to plus flipper on Plant and Informants, but neg flipper on Recover and Boundary. Does that seem reasonable? Yeah. Yep. Cool. Well, Karis, you heard it here first. It's Cole's favorite master, so you should look into her if you haven't already. Also, future Brandon, do a weird cut-in for this part. Because I totally forgot to mention this, but it's really important for Damien. Damien Unbound, though, I think suffers because he knows what he did.
Yes.
That's
Haku.
fair.
One time I moved Candy 1 inch outside my deployment zone and lost the game on the spot when he killed her at the top of 1 along with my master. Everything's fine.
Add him to the list of models paying for sins in 3.
Yeah, that's why Unbound's bad. Wild. All right, well, Rasputina, I hear she's a lady. You'll never guess how many versions of crew card and master that Rasputina has. You'll just never guess. I mean, I am going to tell you it's 2. Okay, so we have Rasputina Winter's Teeth, who has the following abilities to all December models. December's Hunger, so after killing an enemy within 2 inches of a friendly ice pillar, the enemy does not get stones, and you heal 1, which is pretty nuts if you can pull it off. And she also gives Famine. So after this model receives a raise in an opposed duel, the opposing model gains Hunger Tokens. Hunger Tokens are something that the Rasputinas of the world do in spades. Both versions care about them, and they say that when whoever has them ends their activation, it has to deal damage to another one of its allies within 1 of to remove this token, or deal 1 damage to itself and don't remove the token. Rasputin Winter's Teeth also gives friendly December models the following action. It's again everybody Grim Feast, which you'll remember if you played Rasputin in 3rd edition at all. It's a 4-inch tactical action that needs a 5 to go off. It targets a remains marker. Place this model in base contact with the target, then remove the target. You heal 2, and there's a crow trigger to pulse out TN 11 willpower duel to give people hunger tokens. Winter's Wrath is the crew card, on the other hand, for Rasputina Abominable, who has the following things to do. Firstly, Ice Mirror. So when this model declares a spell action, it can target any model within 2 inches of a friendly ice pillar, ignoring range and line of sight. And Sacrifice to December. After killing an enemy non-peon, you can remove an ice pillar marker within 2 of the killed model to infuse a stone. So whereas Rasputina Winter's Teeth stopped your opponent from getting one, Rasputina Abominable gives you them. And then lastly, December models, again, all of them, gain Frigid Gust. Once per activation, move the target up to 5. If you get a raise, also stagger them. And it's a 6-inch stat 6 against speed attack action. Who wants to take Raspy? Anyone rasped? I haven't.
I play her a fair bit, if no one else
Yeah,
does.
go Cole. I'll jump on after you.
Cole,
Sure.
tell us. Raspu, Rasputin.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
She's a lot of fun. She's kind of in my kind of with Damien in that B tier. She's not as good as Karos or Colette, but I do think she does some things well that, in a future GG or in certain matchups, she can shine a little bit. She struggles with crew composition a little bit. I like Winter's Teeth more. I like starving the opponent of soulstones because everyone has just kind of assumed that they will get more throughout the game, and it's really funny when they don't, and they just don't have a plan for that. Same with, they hit your model and they don't care about cheating. Famine works on defensive duels as well, so you have to be careful when you're hitting them so you don't get those hunger tokens. Winter's Teeth is largely about beasts and making them better, so I think Bash is an auto take, and having an enormous min 4 gator that you're just making charge up the board is good fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bash is always an auto take, quite frankly. Look at that guy. He's such a gator.
He's pretty sick. The crew does a lot of damage. I think they're one of the more damage focused crews in the faction. They've got a couple of different models, including the totem, that are damage 3 melee against willpower, which often is the lower stat. You're more likely to have a 4 willpower than a 4 defense in a crew. And if you have a hunger token, you're on negatives, and if you're next to a ice pillar, I'm on positives. So you can just really kind of ramp up the odds to getting big hits out.
Yeah, it's wild that Wendigo just does 3 damage now.
Wendigo is a scary totem, and he's resummonable. So, even if you kill him, the crew struggles a little bit in scheming. They have Blessed and Cedra, but that's kind of it. They don't really have any incidental scheme dropping. They don't really move that effectively. They don't interact that effectively. They really just want to win the game by killing you, which can be fun. One thing I do want to call out that the last FAQ really hurt Raspy herself and then the entire crew in Abominable, because you've got Ice Mirror on everyone. Even though you are ignoring range and line of sight with Ice Mirror, if the sight line you would draw goes through cover or concealment, they still get it, and that really hurts.
And makes not a ton of
sense.
Yeah.
Well, I get that they're the projectile is still coming from there. The ice mirror is that it's bouncing off and stuff. So but I don't know.
But targeting someone way across the board, but you have a little piece of concealing terrain in your deployment zone, so they get concealing. It's unintuitive, and it was more fun when it didn't work that way, or at least I didn't know it worked that way.
Yeah, and I think Rasputina isn't deleting your Euripides and Cyclops at the top of turn 1 because you scooted a tiny bit too hard and didn't put them 5 inches away. You only put them 4 inches away. John, No, okay.
Right.
Sorry.
I mean, Raspy hits pretty hard, especially if you get some onslaughts or some mutilates, but that cover can really hurt her.
Yeah, fair enough. Roman, do you have any fun Raspy themed anecdotes?
I've been thinking about them, and I'm just coming up cold.
This guy just keeps.
Oh my god!
Wow.
The cold puns.
Yeah, Dan, do
believe
you even have winter in Florida?
No.
Oh,
Not
okay.
really.
Do you know?
It was kind of cold for like 2 days.
Well, yeah. Well, I know you were here a couple weeks ago for Captain Con, so I won't have to describe snow to you. But
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh man, what a time! What a time to come up from Florida. That's crazy. But do you have any Raspy thoughts?
I recently added Raspy to my repertoire as of Captain Con, so I played a bunch of her there, but I hadn't played her much before then. I think I'm a little higher on this keyword than Cole is. I think that, and I'm actually higher on Abominable than Winter's Teeth, funnily enough. I think Abominable gives a lot of utility to your crew, just because every model in the crew gets Frigid Gust, so that's your minions, like even just a freaking Ice Gamin that you summon, or because she can summon also, which is neat. I think that like provides a lot of utility and makes her pretty appealing to me on things like just like strategies where your opponent wants to be standing somewhere. So informants naturally, but also potentially things like plant explosives where they want to guard their bombs, or recover evidence, or they're trying to guard markers, or trying to fight certain things in certain places. Like, I think she has like a pretty broad utility in that sense, in the way that you just have access to this action that can just move your opponent. The other reason I like her a little bit more than Winter's Teeth, even though I do like Winter's Teeth, and her damage output can be quite bananas, and she's also one of the only Ruthless models in the entire faction, so that's worth pointing out. But Abominable is also just less vulnerable herself, because Winter's Teeth, I think, is a little prone to dying to certain threats, where Abominable can like spend a stone to end a melee attacker's activation, and is otherwise like more inclined to be further away from the action just because of how she interacts with Ice Mirror and the access that her crew has to Ice Mirror. But I don't necessarily disagree with like some of the weaknesses of the crew. Like, as you say, their hiring pool is a little awkward, and for certain things you kind of end up having to reach into our versatiles, some of which can cover the weaknesses, but others, like, you kind of end up with your scheme runners are also trying to play dual role as like a beater, and that can be difficult to play certain schemes and certain strategies with. So that said, I just think there's a lot to like about this keyword. I think there's a lot of positives, and I think that I've been trying to make it work, so I'm keen to keep playing them for sure.
Yeah, I'm really glad to hear that you like Abominable as much as you do, because I've been looking at her on paper and thinking, again, with the movement and the fact that she, more than Winter's Teeth, is kind of willing to move forward, should allow the crew to participate in the game in ways that Winter's Teeth crew doesn't. So I was really hoping that they could help their scheming issues because of that. So I'm glad to hear that. Sounds like that might be the case.
So, and maybe I just need to get some more reps with Abominable, and like the reason I like her might be totally a personal skill issue. I find because the whole crew has Ice Mirror, they end up just dirtling in their deployment zone and not moving up the board. So then turn 3, like, oh, I have to go score a scheme. I guess I better start walking. Like, that might just be a me problem, not a her problem.
That's totally fair. I think it's like a playstyle thing, and I think there's probably more to explore there for sure.
Yeah. Well, the the murder potential on this crew is crazy, right?
Yep.
Obviously, like we have Bash, we have Cedra, we have Snowstorm, we have the Ice Golem if you want them, and I think all of those models can do absolutely lay the smackdown. Not to mention both Raspies, just have 3s on like every fucking thing on their cards.
Blessed is like a pretty reasonable like beater, at least for I guess like not super hard targets, but can definitely do some damage.
Yeah.
He's good
Scheme
at
runners.
counter punching that thing that's on the edge of the board. you know?
But I think we're definitely plus flipping them in Murder Town. As far as scheme ability is concerned, is there anything in the crew that really excels at scheming or can like sort of put them down extra good or like interact, move, interact? Not really, right?
It's like Cedra and the Blessed, but I agree that that's probably a weak point of the crew.
Yeah. So we'll knife flip them on scheming, and then as far as utility is concerned, I mean, there's a lot to be said. I think, in different ways, but I don't know. How do you feel?
I think you have to give him a plus on utility. We didn't really talk about ice pillars at all.
Oh sure, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, this is technically a marker crew, right? So they make height 5 blocking and passable markers, but unlike in 3rd edition, nowadays if you're within 2 inches of an ice marker, you just flat out get a negative 1 to your duel total during your activation. Like obviously Rasputin's models or friendly models can just ignore them, but that there are circumstances where that really isn't great, you know?
Yeah. Ice pillars blocking movement, making, even simple TNs like going to, J5 needs an 8 to leap now. That sure sucks, you know.
All those TN6s are TN7s now, baby. Let's go.
Right.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. The blocking marker thing I think sold me, but I think that's a fair point. So I think,
and I think with the amount of like offensive, like move your enemy, like, and the
especially with Abomination.
And the other version, starving for stones, I think is some really like, I don't think of anything else in the game that does that. I think that's an interesting piece of tech.
Okay, all right. You've charmed me. We can plus flip her in utility. As far as strats are concerned, I think recover evidence is absolutely ballin'. They're quite good at that. Informants, for a similar reason. I mean, opposed crew movement's good. Murdering your opponent's whole crew, it's really hard to take markers if they're dead. Is there an argument for boundary or plane explosives? I think my answer is going to be no, but
I don't think so.
So my only thought, my comment for boundary specifically is that 2 of our minions, the Kalkgeist and the December Acolyte, have from Shadow.
Okay. The Kalkgeist are from the shadows now? What the fuck?
Yeah. I want to try a fun list where it's max December Acolytes, max Kalkgeist, and the Sandworm. So you just like don't deploy a crew at the beginning of the game.
Okay. What do you zip? Okay. All right. That's fine. I'll hear you on a plus flip for boundary, but we're going to give them a double negative plus flip on plant explosives.
Yeah. I don't like plant explosives. I think you could like asterisk the boundary just because
They're great turn 1, but after that, they don't really have a follow-up plan, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't really like Kalkgeists that much. I think Acolytes are okay, though.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not particular. That's fine. Yeah. All right. Well, whatever I just said is what we'll do. This has been going on for a while, and we got 2 crews left, so let's scoot down the line.
Yep.
We have Sand Deep Desai. Sand Deep, of course, has 2 crew cards. We have Font of Magic and Quiet Flame. Quiet Flame has the Formless Mantra, where friendly academic models gain Mindful, so when they prepare, they can gain an Insight token instead. Insight tokens are a special token that a bunch of different models have and crews can deal with, but in this case, before performing a duel, you can look at the top card of your fate deck if you want. You may discard it. They also all gain the magical defense. What is magic defense called in reality?
Warding, I think.
A warding defensive ability.
Maybe.
Yeah, that sounds right.
No one's
a Sparkle Shield.
I don't know any
Sparkle
of the names
Shield.
of the defensive abilities.
Sparkle Shield. I try and say them because of the video, but it's
that's fair.
Future Brandon cut this. Elemental Shielding, which is of course a Sparkle Shield ability. Thank you, Roman. Once per activation, after another model suffers damage while within 6 inches. While this model suffers damage while within 6 inches of another friendly elemental, it gains an Insight token. So he's all about the Insight. And then friendly non-Gamin academic models gain Mantra of Fury, which rips an insight. Enemy models within 3 gain burning or injured unresisted, which is crazy. Mantra of Rebuke, again rip an insight. Enemy models within range have to discard a card or be moved 3, which is crazy. And then Mantra of Travel is rip an insight, move 4. That's pretty much it for crew card stuff from the Quiet Flame. Font of Magic, on the other hand, gives living academic models, which is like basically not the Gamin and not the like fancy Jin-esque boyos. Exhaled into being, so once per activation, if you kill a target, you can summon a Gamin academic model in base contact with the killed model, and that's a 3 damage, 6 range, 6 against willpower spell attack. And then a tactical action called Summon Golem, where for 2 stones within 6 inches, you can kill 2 friendly elemental minions within range. You don't get to infuse any soul stones when they're killed, and you summon a Golem academic model with 6 health into base contact with this model. The thing that strikes me the weirdest is, 1, it's neat that you only need 2 now, and 2, you can kill any Gamin and make any Golem.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Weird, bro. I don't like it. It's gross. All right, talk to me about this Sandeep boyo.
Roman, go.
Yep.
Roman,
So
how deep is your sand?
I have sand the depths. There we go.
Wow. Also, that sounds like it'd be very painful. Please continue.
Yes. So I just finished playing a few over 10 games for the SteamPoweredScoundrels First and 10 on him, because I haven't really played him that much since 2nd edition when he came out. Mm-hmm. And then I played him 2 games, said, "You're too good," and put him away. Mm-hmm. So I have to first off say I'm very pleased with where the crew is this edition. I think they're in a good toolboxy spot without being bonkers.
Okay.
I definitely prefer Quiet Flame personally. Kind of where I've ended up on Font of Magic is they do a lot of cool things, but they're so much of their stuff that they want to do kind of happens in the latter half of the game that you're either playing it as win more or you are scrabbling back from the brink. And I think that overall the crew as a whole is better served by Quiet Flame's crew card because the tactical signature actions on there are just so nice to have. Yeah, essentially Quiet Flame says, I want to run in and either pick one thing to kill, or I'm going to cause so many target numbers that you're going to see your whole deck this turn, at least. And I'm going to hope that either you flip all the high cards on not hitting, or on hitting those target numbers so that the rest of your attacks and things are not with high cards, or you're missing all of them so you're either out of cards in your hand or I'm killing you, because a lot of those target numbers do damage. Bonasuva follows up with that. There's just a lot of pulsy things in the crew. If you get the Ice Golem, or bring him, again with the slow pulse like we talked about before, there's a decent amount of control there. So yeah, Quiet Flame especially, the name of the game is hand pressure, and through hand pressure, winning, because you are controlling what your opponent can and can't do.
Yeah, fair enough. And Font of Magic importantly gives out upgrades. They're neat. They have like a drawback and a plus, and they can pitch them when they go away. And the summoning is crazy. The one thing that really also sort of bugs me is I've just now for the first time am realizing we talked about Fire and Ice Gamin already because they're versatile, but the Wind Gamin isn't.
Yes.
Why?
The one that you would hire is not versatile.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't get it. Okay, sorry. That's just, I was very distracted by that, and it was thrown off guard.
Only Sandeep has studied the elements enough to figure out that there is a secret third element, wind.
Yeah. And not metal. That's some weird, Asian philosophy crap that's not around anymore.
They're talking about like a table of elements. He just wants like a nice little little chart. Nothing
I
of
don't
this.
know.
Yeah.
Banasuva's got Earth on one of his arms. Like, he remembers Earth.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
What's
well,
going on there?
I
What
want
is
I want
Earth
an Earth
except
Gamin.
for fire that cooled down a lot?
Yeah. Also, I'd really like a
You're right.
wood Gamin. I would like for this.
Maybe a
for
little
the-
barrel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe you mean a whiskey gammon.
Oh, I don't know. I was gonna say for the Eighth Thunders crew, we have a wood-based crew because it's Japanese, but fine.
Ooh, that'd be cool. Like Cherry Blossom Crew. That'd be neat.
Ooh, with wood Gamins. Okay, so so Sand Deep. I mean, does anybody else know the Deep?
Yeah, I play a lot of Sandeep.
Okay.
So I really want. I do really like Font of Magic. The
Mhm.
problem I have with him is he exists in the same faction that Colette does.
Yep.
Yeah.
And everything that I want to bring Font in, I know that I will just have an easier time winning the game with Colette. His ability to make summoned models, so Gamin mostly, but could be golems as well. A master action to move 6 and then declare an action with a stone you can ignore the fact you're summoned. Gives you some really interesting vectors for scoring that your opponent just can't keep track of everything that you can do.
Yep.
But can
and
you
I-
keep track of everything you can do?
Well, yeah, that's part of it. So while I really prefer Font of Magic, 90% of my Sandeep games are Quiet Flame because I think he is super boring but super effective at what he's doing. Thanks to Mantra of Rebuke and Mantra of Travel to some extent, I think he's probably our best informant master in the faction.
Yep.
Because the ability to just like pulse, you have to discard half your hand or I get to move you, you don't get to resist, is just really damn strong. Plus, a normal crew, you have like 10 models and 9 of them have a way to move either your friends, your enemies, or probably both. There's just so much movement that it's tough to play informants into Sandeep. He's just really, really good at it.
Yeah. Plus toss. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah. And like there is so much of it is not even worth calling out toss specifically. And that's really saying something.
Yeah, I've been trying to think of a good way to differentiate them from the extra movement in Karis, and I would say Wildfire is a super fast crew, whereas the extra movement that Academic has is much more they're an agile crew.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
You
very
can't-
nickel
yeah.
and dime sort of scooty.
And it's all out of activation. Like once a
Yes.
Wildfire model is somewhere, they kind of just are there.
Yep.
That is not true for Academic.
Yeah. Dan, do you have any deep thoughts about San?
This is a crew I am not super familiar with. I've looked at it a fair bit, and I'm super excited to try it when I have the opportunity. But I basically defer to Cole and Roman. I think there's plenty to work with here. Font of Magic seems very complicated.
Yeah, is it just me, or does it feel like there's more text on each of these cards than any other card in the game? I just like...
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
boy.
it's a pretty complex crew. That's kind of how Sandeep has been
Sandeep has always
since he
been
was
that way.
introduced. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, that's what I want out of Sandeep.
Yeah.
Like,
well-
I like Fun of Magic, getting all kinds of summons. You give all your little shitbag minions a 3 damage magic attack. But Quiet Flame is just so efficient with his mantras.
So let's talk as far as roles are concerned. Murder potential. Does this crew have it? Is there a whole lot of super high damage or a lot of output damage, or is it all just kind of chippy stuff?
It's not necessarily
Because like Banasuva doesn't even do 3 damage anymore, which makes me crazy.
but
But he does do 2 damage twice.
Exactly.
No.
It's sideways damage. So they're not going to alpha strike you. But by the end of turn 2, your opponent very well can have like 2 models left, depending on their flips and cheats.
Yeah, and part of the problem is Academic is like triple the size of Witness. There are so many damn models in here.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, you're not wrong.
So it's hard to pin down like what the crew is good at because there's so many different ways to do it. I mean, you can run a font Sandeep crew where by early turn 2 you have all 3 golems. So yeah, that's pretty killy. but like an average Quiet Flame crew it probably isn't. You know?
Yeah. Just for those interested in the numbers specifically, Witness has 6 hireable profiles, and Academic has 12, and also all of Witness's hireable profiles except for Dabbler and Gamin are unique, and like everything you hire can be a 3 of. Jesus.
Yeah, you've got what, 5 different rare 3 minions. You have 3 different 10 stone models. Like,
Yeah. Somebody all out war.
oh, I did the math. It's like 120 or 130.
Academic versus Damien. Let's go. Okay, but so Sandy. So beater potential. Are we saying he's a plus flip? Because I feel
I'd say positive.
yeah.
I don't think he's a negative. I truly think
Okay.
this would be the place to go neutral. But
Okay.
if we have to pick one, positive.
We have to pick one, so positive. You heard it here first, folks. Okay, so in that case, let's talk scheming potential. Is there much that's super schemy in this? I mean,
That is the one thing I think they're bad at. They have no interact tricks. They have no ski marker tricks. They have movement tricks, but in every ski marker you want, you have to do the hard way.
Yep.
yeah.
I'm a little surprised by that.
There is Kandara does have a put out secrets, drop secrets
does she?
on her knife. But
No.
Sure.
yeah,
Okay.
the only reason I'm mentioning it is because it jumped out to me as that is one of the things you can do. Otherwise, yeah, they're all interacting the hard way.
And then Sandeep Font has the I make a summoned thing interact for a stone.
Yeah.
But I think in general, the thing that they're bad at is scheming. They're just good enough at utility to make up for it.
Yes. That's a
Yeah,
good way to put
yeah,
it.
and I mean utility. This what can't this crew do? Right? I guess draw cards, but
Quiet Flame has a pretty sick stone trigger on his melee where you can just draw 2 cards most turns.
oh sure, yeah, okay, cool, okay, yeah, fair enough. All right, so plus flip for that for sure. So scheme wise, are we boundary disputing particularly well? Do we have anything that really stands out? No.
They're great at informants.
I definitely agree on a plus flip for informants. Mantra rebuke alone.
Yeah, that carries the whole
butts.
crew.
Yeah.
You can do boundary dispute kind of by brute force just because you have so much out of activation movement, and you do have the Shastrovidya with Onward.
Yep.
Okay.
And if
All
you're
right.
playing like, and you have the mantra travel, so like you can do it. You're not nearly as good as like Colette at it, but you can play it.
But so are yeah, all right, fair enough. So we're arguing plus flip on boundary.
Yep.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Plants, what are we thinking? Is there anything plant? I mean, models walk across the center line, drop a thing.
Yeah.
I think they get plant mainly because, again, they have a ton of utility. So even if you're locking them down, they kind of don't care.
Yeah.
And they're generally fast enough to get where they want to go.
I guess, hear me out. What does your opponent do if you hire, 12 3-stone models and then just plant 14 explosives on turn 1, right?
Yeah, I mean, fair point.
Yeah.
And like you do have the 4 Winds Golem who has a leap. You've got Shastrovidya with Onward.
Yeah.
Like you can get across the table pretty efficiently.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, we'll plus flip on one plant, and then certainly informants, and then recover. I don't know.
Recover is the one that I think
that's
Roman
a
and I
good
will
plan.
disagree here. I personally give them a negative because the crew in general wants lots of little gammon to be elemental shielding batteries and pushing you around and gumming up the opponents. Like you get Kandara's reactivate, Font of Magic doesn't work without gammon. Like you want these little shitbags on the table, and that just bleeds points in recover.
For sure. Yeah, 100%. Especially summoning, like you can't do that.
Yeah, Roman did
Yeah,
win
and
that
that-
game against me recently in recover, kind of proving that you can play it without the gammon. But
Sure.
it's kind of like playing Colette in recover. You can do it, but it's not what you should be doing.
Yeah.
It feels like if you're playing them on recover, you're kind of like having to play around a segment of the keyword.
Yep.
That you're just like not including in your game plan, and that can be kind of that feels like it at that point maybe like a different keyword would be.
If you're
a better
soloing
idea.
Sandeep for the day, there's a way to make it happen, but you
Yeah.
should have just picked something else.
Yeah, we'll knife flip them on recover. The final question I have about Sandeep, and I need to know everybody. We'll start with Roman, then Cole, then Dan. Old Banasuva or new Banasuva?
New
Right.
Banasuva.
Cole?
Objectively new Banasuva, but I have a very
Fucking
like
traitor.
personal attachment to my old one. Like that was
Okay.
one of the first crews that I got. So it, like for me, old Banasuva. For literally anyone else, new Banasuva.
I'm so mad. Dan?
Having not been able to compare them side by side, there are things I like about new Banasuva, but I think I prefer old Banasuva.
Okay. Can I finally a man of taste? I think new Banasuva is very cool, but holy shit. The angles and the muscles and the highlighting. Pro Acryl Blue blows that fucking model out of the goddamn park.
I do like how beefy old Banasuva is.
He's
I
so
wish
good.
I wish he hadn't slimmed down so much.
I
Yeah,
bought
if it-
a
he's
copy
kind of a
of
tiny
the
boy
old
now.
core box that I found just so I could have that model and use it if I wanted, and then I'm probably gonna get the new core box too because
Yeah.
I have a
Yeah.
problem.
I have to
With
get the old
plastic
one,
crack.
but I'm gonna get the new one.
I have both because
Same.
of good things happen. Doug painted one for me.
Nice.
Yay.
Wow. Which brings me to the final crew of Arcanists. At least that we'll be talking about today. Hopefully there'll be more soon. But Tony Ironsides, of course, breaking the trend, has 3 versions and crew cards.
Wow.
That's not true. She has 2, but I just wanted to, throw some spice at you. So Tony has Troubleshooter and Union President. Troubleshooter, of course, gives her friendly M&SU models Workers United. So when you're within 3 inches of another ally, it receives a plus flip to its attack actions. Friendly Uniques also gain Take It Outside, which is a 12-inch spell that's 6 against willpower. You choose an ally in the target's line of sight. The target moves its speed towards the chosen model. Then the target must declare a melee action targeting the chosen model a fable. It may not declare triggers or receive raises. It's Bring It. But little different.
It's Bring It there. Other people can be like, hey, go fight Tony.
Yeah. And then it has a stone trigger for get some once per activation. The model declares 1 attack targeting each enemy. This model declares 1 attack targeting each enemy engaged with it, which is potentially fucking cracked. As somebody who's been on the receiving end of it, let me tell you. Aggressive Legislation is the name of the game with Tony Ironsides, Union President. She gives friendly M&SU models Union Turf. So while this model has half of its maximum health or less, friendly ski markers within 3 may not be removed by enemy effects, which is kind of crazy. And then friendly unique M&SU models gain the following action: safety inspection, signature in a stone. It's an 8-inch range, 0 skill, but the TN is summon an MSU, so it's based on the summon number of the summonable model. But summon an M&SU minion in base contact with the target. The summon model has 4 health, and you have to deal 2 damage to a target, to the targeted ally that you summon the model in base contact with. So Tony, Tony was the last keyword that I played against in M3.
Yeah.
Talk to me about Ms. Ironsides. Channel as much Doug and Jeff as you need to. We can
Yes,
call
so-
Jeff. Do you want me to just call Jeff?
That'd be fun. Just make him talk.
Yeah, just that'd be fun. No, I got this. So having talked to Doug, our fearless leader at SteamPoweredScoundrels, and before I forget it, Artifactors Union, for anybody trying and having trouble building things, check that out.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in plugs.
Yeah. So one thing I would say across Malifaux is there are several crews that are kind of like, we are normal people, and all of them, to my knowledge, generally kind of feel middle of the road, and they have to jump through some hoops to do their cool stuff. This is one of those crews. However, I think this edition, though it will take probably a couple games to get into a good knowledge of where you need to put people and when to make the most use of it, the fact that they're getting positives to their attack actions makes them especially, well, with Troubleshooter anyway, makes them especially kind of difficult to deal with, just because they usually have more cards in hand to cheat on the things that matter. So the discerning Tony player can be a little more specific of, oh, okay, that didn't happen, oh, that did though, this other thing that didn't happen, I'm going to cheat the high card that you've been cheating over my positive flips to stop me. Now this take it outside is happening, and Tony's getting 6 attacks because I'm telling her to get some.
Yeah, for sure.
Good luck. Meanwhile, I think the crew over last edition has gotten the injection of stability they needed in some of their squishier pieces. And they have that, they can do that while spreading out and actually scoring. The previous edition, they felt like a bubble. They never get out of the bubble. Here, they really do. They can kind of move in strike teams, which is nice. So yeah, you have your troubleshooter that is mostly there for murder, but also can scheme. And then your union president, I think, is ultimately going to be the higher skill ceiling. And I think she does have a higher skill floor, because the first time I looked at safety inspection, I was like, this is kind of garbage. You're making me do 2 damage to a friend when somebody else is getting 4 health out of it when they're summoned, etc., etc. But watching Doug play into me with that, it was like, oh my god, suddenly I have all these little shitbag minions that I need to deal with. And them having 4 health is kind of a problem when they also have things like positive flips to defense and willpower, among other things. So yeah, it's I think Union President is going to be the overall better to play if you want to play competitively, but it will take you a little more time to get that solidly under your belt.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Cole, do you have any Tony thoughts?
Yeah, she is the crew that I've played the least, probably about tied with Bass. And I still haven't really made up my mind on if they're good or not. The problem I have with them is, if you look at individual models, they seem like they've got cool pieces. I just haven't been able to make those pieces work together against like the good crews in the game. I think for a casual game, they're a really fun crew and they do some really interesting stuff. I just haven't figured out how to get the the juice out of them against the top tier of stuff that I'm worried about running into at a big tournament or something.
Yeah.
That could be me. That might not be the crew, but that's my opinion of them today. Is I'm afraid to take them in an event because I think I just am not going to get what I need out of them.
Sure. Yeah. Dan, do you have anything else you want to add?
This is another crew that I haven't played a ton of. I just don't own the models. I'm kind of waiting for their new boxes to come out. Mm-hmm. But I will say I've been on the receiving end of troubleshooter, and that is a keyword that can do some pretty extreme violence. And it's like not that hard. Like this, I guess like hoops that they need to jump through to do it like are not that hard. Like they have all the tools they need. And I think a lot of that just comes from the plus flip from Workers United. Mm-hmm. When you're flipping 2 cards and your opponent's flipping just 1, like it very quickly like starts to swing flips in your favor. And then they have to cheat, and like you just can't really efficiently cheat against take it outside. So like you're gonna get dragged in. Someone is gonna make like 5 attacks with a soulstone trigger. Tony is going to smack you for like 7 damage. And it can be really hard to deal with. So I do think this is like a very good crew as far as like fighty scheme and strategy pools goes. There's definitely like I don't think it's unbeatable by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think it can hang with some of the big dogs as far as those categories go. Union president, I know much less about, so I'll defer to people who have played her. Most of what I've heard has not been very positive, but I'm definitely willing to wait and see how the meta around that develops.
Yeah.
I think Union Turf is a really strong ability that some games is going to do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Absolutely.
some
Very,
games
very
is going to really swing,
Mhm.
Yep.
Especially being able to summon a model that is below half, because that's always the big problem with those, when you're below half effects. And luckily, most of them have been stripped out of this crew. But being able to just create a model at half health, I think, is a really big deal for that.
Yeah, and I think a competitive level Tony player, one of their things they're going to have to be good at is looking at a board and just hearing the opposing player's faction declaration and knowing which Tony to bring.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, fair enough. So let's talk ratings. How we do this. So I think Tony, at its heart, even though it's not overtly every model has 3 damage, is definitely capable of damaging. That's like kind of her vibe. It's very not straightforward, especially because I don't even know, is there a single model? Like Joss must say 3 damage. Right?
Yeah,
Joss
Joss and the captain.
House, actually.
Oh, and the captain. Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yep.
The captain joined M&SU. What do you think? Weird flex for the old guys. Is that strange?
Oh, he's been in M&SU. Now you'll just actually hire him.
Oh,
Right.
Was he M&SU before? I thought he
Yes,
was.
he
I
was-
thought he was always the
back-
versatile mercenary guy.
No, way back to the second. He's always been M&SU.
Oh, okay. All right, fair enough. Well, yeah. Now he's not versatile anymore.
Joss hits like a fucking truck, though. If
Yeah.
you get the RAM for raise value 3,
Yeah.
and he gives
Yeah.
you slow just built in, he's
Mhm.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Joss is a house for sure.
Yeah. So plus flip damage. That's fair enough. We're there.
Yep.
As far as scheming is concerned, I feel like there is a minimum amount of scheme ability that a crew can have when they have a 3F summonable minion that has false claim.
Especially when you also have an obeyer in the crew with Amina.
Yeah.
Like trivial. I'm not to say that they can do every schemey thing, but I think that it's very, very likely that they have schemable scheme ability. I think
Yes.
plus flip. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
as far as utility is concerned as well, there's a lot of outside of activation movement. There's weird, like you can rip enemies basically to Tony depending on which version you're playing with every single model. No, hold on. Oh, with every unique model. Yeah. But like putting a bunch of models where you want to be is really good. I don't know. Am I crazy? I feel like I want to give her a plus flip on utility as well.
Yeah, ultimately the crew, I think, is another one of these generalists that, because they're not specializing in any one thing, they're not going to be easily, most obviously, the best at any one thing, but they're a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Dan. You were going? Shane?
I was gonna comment. I think like M&SU seems like a really solid foundation for like a stable of keywords that you're gonna play in events, like bring to tournaments.
Yeah. Yeah, and just looking at the journeyman, one thing comes to mind, and it's that it's weird to me that the Miners and Steamfitters Union lost both their Miners and Steamfitters.
Don't
Yes.
fucking
I
get
can't
into it.
not say that. I get it. They're Union journeymans. They are both Miners or Steamfitters, I guess. But Jesus.
We had them and now have neither miners nor steam fitters.
And they're journeymen. That means they're not even full-fledged, can work on their own. Right?
Mhm.
They're legally required to walk around the country and not stay in any one location for more than 3 days. Sorry, this isn't Germany, but that's not the point.
Also, other little annoyance. Why the hell is troubleshooter damage 2?
Yeah, well, the answer is because she does such a volume of attacks, and that one trigger that says plus like 60 billion damage, she can't be 3.
I guess, but like, just don't give her that trigger. Let her just be min 3 because she's a beater. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Every time I played with her, I have just not had any fucking rams in my hand at any point in the game. and never did more than like 2 or 3 damage with her.
Yeah, I think I'm always of the opinion that Master should be 3 too. And it upsets me when one's not. I just basically ignore them when they're not 3.
I don't even mind a Master not being 3, but what is her job but to punch things? That is the only thing she is supposed to be doing.
True. Yeah, but she's more. It's more volume. It's more quantity than quality.
Yeah.
This is one case where I'm kind of okay with it. Like, she's just punching you, and like, you know, for better or worse, she can still do a lot of damage. I think like it's one of those cases where you have to look for like resupply on mouse to get you some rams to try and punch that through, or lean on someone else to do the damage for the turn if you don't have the rams.
Yeah.
And again, I fully admit I'm playing well below the skill ceiling on this crew, and that's just I haven't got enough games in with them. So.
Yeah, to be clear, I'm not trying to call you bad at by any means.
Oh, I am.
You're awful.
Bad
Cole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
you can't even beat something that one time I played Dashel something.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you are bad. I don't know.
I do think it's really
so.
weird that this crew has more slow than Raspy, who has like functionally none.
Mm-hmm.
Like weird that this became the slow control crew in the faction, but anyway.
Yeah, one especially, and that brings me to a good point. I think the actual reason she isn't min 3 is she has that built-in staggered on her attack. She with between that and the stat 7, her goal is to be reliable at punching, especially at a positive flip. And then now you're engaged with me.
And now
with staggered. Yeah, you're with staggered and cutting your walk in half whenever you try to leave. If you leave by a walk action, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
fair enough.
Wrong.
I need more games with her. I should do that soon.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, I agree. So let's talk. So boundary disputes. I don't think that she has much game here in particular, but
you can hire saboteurs to do it, but you should just play someone else. I think.
I agree completely. I think informants, though, holy shit. If you want your models to be in a place and that place isn't next to Tony getting punched repeatedly, then you're probably in for a bad time, and that's what informants is about. I think likewise, she's very good at recover because she is fundamentally a damage crew, and in particular, she's a damage crew that likes to satellite off small groups of dudes who defend and buff each other, which makes them harder to kill.
Well, and she's got so much built in, like, not quite kidnaps, but I mean, really, it kind of is with the 12-inch take it outside, like bringing a model to you, blending it, and then picking up the recover marker is a really, really efficient way to play recover.
For sure. Yeah. And you just like can't bring any model anywhere near Tony because they're just gonna get in the heart locker, or as I sometimes will call it, the fuck barrel. And then this is just a kind of a vulgar term, but it's very funny. And then I think so recover plus whip for sure. And lastly, playing explosives. I don't think that she I mean, I don't think she's actually bad at it. I just don't think she excels at it in any way.
I can't imagine why you would take this crew over something else in faction.
Yeah, like all of the other crew.
I think you could say that for a lot of
anyone
crews
else would be better at it
when performer exists. But I will say, like, looking at Union President for the first time, it feels like if any part of this crew has game, it would be her.
Sure, I agree.
Because like you can summon guys to guard your markers. You kind of have saboteurs to run the bombs across the board.
And Willie Union strong. Like,
and then I mean, it has an obey, which can be useful on plant explosives to like make your opponents drop their bombs or pick them up. So I feel like there's tools to play it there. I don't know how it works out in practice. So I'm happy to just give it a minus whip on plant explosives, but that's kind of my perspective there.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I will say, really importantly, just for like sort of the lore and like world building, the word saboteur comes from a word for a popular wooden shoe called a sabot, which in France was a popular means of protest by destroying the leather industry machines that were putting shoe workers out of business. So they would throw their sabots into the machines, thereby sabotaging them. And then,
Wow.
It's an important thing to know if
I
you're
love
going to
that.
play.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Can I just say, fuck the Industrial Revolution? That shit sucks. And I think that's a good note to end on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Wow.
Sounds good to me.
So this has been the Arcanists faction overview. Get in the comments if you have different opinions, or if you want to tell us things, or if there's stuff we missed, or things that you really want to. I will say we're gonna do much more in-depth breakdowns of all the crews at some point in the future, where hopefully some of these lovely folks will join me on the channel. We'll start with Roman. Is there anything that you want to plug or talk about in particular? I mean, obviously we're going to link Steam Powered Scoundrels and of course the Artifactors Union below, which are great resources for Malifaux building models and just general everything on the podcast side. But anything in particular you want to plug?
Yeah, we haven't announced specifics yet, but keep an ear out on those channels for our so far our third year of Good Things Happen. Fourth year of Good Things Happen? Fourth year of Good Things Happen, which is our charity event where you come and play Malifaux and fight children's cancer with it.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it now, because if I say it now, it'll manifest, and hopefully somebody can bully me into actually doing it. But I want to come to Good Things Happen. I've tried multiple times in the past, and this year, in the year of our Lord 2026, I'm fucking coming.
Right. Brandon,
I
so
believe
help
it.
me God, I'm going this year, so we'll make it happen for both of us.
Sick. Let's fucking go. Okay. Great. Cole, is that it? You have anything else you want to talk about, Roman?
No, that's it. Just let me know when you're doing the performer show, and I'll be here with glitter and smoke bombs.
Amazing. We definitely will. Also, can I say I also have the absolute fucking best shenanigans to make Landon have to put up with for donations at Good Stuff Happens this year. If you're interested in pitching in for a group, making him have to do it, or else he'll feel like a terrible person, get in the comments. Let me know, because oh boy, is it awful. I'm so fucking excited. He kind of knows, so it's not a big spoiler to him, but it's going to be really good.
For reference, last year he had to speak in a Russian accent the entire time.
Yeah,
And
no,
he did.
I know that, because when I introduced him to Anne-Marie, Anne-Marie was like, "Oh, I already know him. He's Russian," because Anne-Marie had never seen him not speaking in a Russian accent and thought that he was Russian.
Amazing.
Cole, when is the Battle for the Bay this year? And do you have anything else you want to talk about or plug?
I haven't decided the date for that yet. I'm going to try to do another tournament before then as well. If you're ever in the Midwest area, especially Ohio, come hang out in Toledo. We have a fantastic shop called the Dragon's Roost. It is a coffee shop and game shop. They are about to expand to a store almost triple their current size, I think. So we'll be hosting some very large tournaments, hopefully. Beyond that, I'll plug my band again, Death Hex.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. So long time ago, we had Cole on the channel for a tier list, I think, and I used Death X music in the background instead of the.
I think it was the Gen Con recap.
Oh, was it Gen Con recap?
Yeah. But yeah, we're doing, roughly a week on tour in April. We're gonna try to do another week sometime in the summer. So we're gonna get all kinds of different places. If you like belligerent heavy music, check us out. We have an album coming out this month.
Get in the comments. Run them up on Spotify, or maybe not Spotify. I don't know if you guys
Spotify. I mean, look, we don't get paid, but it's good numbers to get on bigger tours and festivals and stuff. So Spotify's awful, but do it anyway.
Yeah. Yep. That's fucking everything nowadays. But I will say, can I just as an important aside, it's not just a coffee shop, game store with coffee, because they also have non-coffee caffeinated beverages.
They do. Yeah. If you don't like coffee, they have all kinds of great teas and refreshers and custom stuff that you're not going to find anywhere else. It's just a great place, and it's been a fantastic kind of hub of the Midwest Malifaux community for the last almost 10 years.
Yeah, I ordered a mild drink for me, caffeine wise, and the server was concerned for my health. So, we were doing it right.
And everyone who's been there knows that the London fog is absolutely delightful.
Yeah, man.
All right, Dan Diesel, tell us where people can find you. What do you got? You got anything to plug?
Yeah, I'm mostly just on Discord. I am loosely affiliated with the Bigger Hat guys. They make the bot that everyone uses to reference cards on Discord. Yeah, and they're also working on bringing back the website, which will be cool. They
and the podcast.
Yes, we are also. Some of us are working on a podcast, which I think we are scheduling a date to record soon. So you can look out for that. In the meantime, give the guys who developed the bot some money. They're on Coffee. That's ko-fi.com/biggerhat. They deserve it. Also, in April, I am planning to run a tournament down here in Florida to celebrate my birthday. That's how I'm trying to guilt people into showing up.
Oh my gosh, happy birthday. What weekend is it?
The tournament is going to be on April 25th. My birthday's on the 20th. Yeah, if you're in Florida or in the Southeast and feel like coming down it's just a 1-day 3-round tournament. It's going to be pretty chill. We have lots of casual players. You should come and join us. It'll be a lot of fun.
Wow. Let's get in the comments, guys, and let me know if anyone else is going. I think I'm going to Indiana for a tournament the week before that, but wouldn't it be wild if we just had like 20 people show up to their 3-round tournament? I'm just saying.
That would be cool.
Wow. Cool. Well, it's been lovely having you all. We've done a lot of arcing. We're wicked arcs, kid. As I said many times in the group chat, planning this episode. But thank you for watching. If you have comments, get in them. And I think we have one really important final thing to do, which is say goodbye to the internet. Roman, would you like to say goodbye to the internet?
Goodbye to the internet.
Cole, would you like to say goodbye to the internet?
I think it'd be funnier if I didn't, but sure. Goodbye, internet.
Wild. And Dan, will you say goodbye to the internet?
Yes. See you later, the internet.
Wow. As always, goodbye, the internet. Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by the planet. You can check out the video description below for all of our important info and links. You can see a link to the Discord if you want to come be nerds on the internet with us. We have channels for like all the games that we're playing and all of our community members are excited about. You can also check out all of our affiliate links for like our Redbubble merch store, our Pro Acryl discount code because they make the best hobby supplies on our planet and yours. And of course, our Wyrd affiliate link if you're buying Malifaux stuff straight from Jonathan Q. Wyrd himself. Most importantly, though, you can see a link to our Patreon where I post things from time to time, like behind the scenes cuts or early vids, and we even have a tier where I'll bake you cookies and send them to you in real life. Thanks a ton to our current patrons who cover the cost of all of our software to make these videos, and we couldn't do it without them. You can see their names appearing now across the screen. And until next time, goodbye the internet. We did it!